Well, Gina, a capacity crowd of 17,077 here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. And as you know firsthand, this a crowd that always generates excitement, which should contribute to the excitement on the ice tonight.
Well, in 10 years, they've never failed to raise to a great occasion. I think this one is tonight. No blasé old hockey fans. Their first All-Star game ever, and we'll go right to the ice for the introductions.
To the ice for the introductions on the public address by Lou Nolan. Introduction of the two Toronto Maple Leaf representatives for the Wales Conference, defenseman Boryasami, goaltender Wayne Thomas from the Boston Bruins, former Ranger, and greeted here in Philadelphia as a former Ranger, Brad Park, having a superb season, his 7th All-Star selection. Well, hustling Greg Shepard, his first All-Star appearance, 21 goal scorer for the Boston Bruins, 29 assists for 50 points.
Representing the Los Angeles Kings, number 16.
Now from the Los Angeles Kings, Marcel Dion. The Kings delighted with the Dion trade. Marcel thus far this season, 28 goals and 28 assists.
From the Montreal Canadiens.
Now from the Montreal Canadiens, number 5 defenseman Guy Lapointe, one of 6 Montreal Canadian All-Stars for this 1976 All-Star game. Goaltender Ken Dryden. The stats read 1.73 goals against, 7 shutouts.
Number 2, defenseman.
Now replacing the injured Serge Savard, number 2, defenseman Larry Robinson. For Larry, this is second All-Star appearance. Peter Mahovlich, no longer in his brother's shadow, one of the best centermen of the National Hockey League, 21 goals, 37 assists.
Number 10, forward Guy Lafleur.
The superb number 10, Guy Lafleur, 28 goals, 38 assists, 66 points, second in scoring to Bobby Clarke. And forward Steve Shutt for the Montreal Canadiens, another first-time All-Star, 23 goals, 19 assists thus far for Steve Shutt. Now from the Penguins of Pittsburgh, 3 representatives, beginning with one of the fastest skaters in the NHL, Jean Pronovo, with 29 goals, among the leaders in goal scoring. 20-year-old, exciting Pierre LaRouche. Terrific wrist shot. Number 9, Pierre LaRouche. And steady defenseman Dave Burrows, one of the better defensive defensemen in the National Hockey League. Now you'll hear a roar representing the Washington Capitals, former Flyer, Bill Clement. Bill spent 4 years with the Philadelphia Flyers. Big favorite here, was sent to Washington for a number 1 draft pick, which turned out to be Mel Bridgman, and Clement is receiving a standing ovation.
That's what I mean, Marv. They rise to the occasion here.
Al McAdam, another Philadelphia Flyer who has emerged as an All-Star with the Seals of California. From the Red Wings of Detroit, Dan Maloney, a rugged player who has developed last couple of years into a solid all-around performer. Now from the Sabres of Buffalo, Jerry Conrad, not a particularly well-liked player here in Philadelphia. A hero for Buffalo in that Sabre win over the Soviet Wings 2 weeks ago. Craig Ramsey, solid two-way player, particularly proficient in killing off penalties, wearing number 11. And one of the brilliant young goal scorers of the game today, number 7, Rick Martin. He has scored 52 goals back-to-back this year among the leaders with 29. And the coach of the Prince of Wales Conference team is Floyd Smith of the Buffalo Sabres. Now to run down the Campbell division, the voice of the Philadelphia Flyers. Again, my pleasure to be working alongside Gene Hart. Gene?
Thank you, Marv. And what a classic guy to open with, Glenn Chico Rush of the New York Islanders, who is just a reporter and TV man's dream. What an interview. Magnificent start last year in the playoffs with New York. Almost led the Islanders to an upset 7-game victory over the Flyers. All the credentials are good. All-Star goaler and MVP in the International League and the American League. 3 years with the New York Islanders. The odds-on choice to replace Bobby Orr as the top defenseman of the year, Dennis Potvin, a first-team All-Star last year with the New York Islanders. 2 years ago, their first-round draft pick. Willie Harris from Toronto, the first-ever draft choice of the New York Islanders, who was a fine scorer without a center until this young man, a 20-year-old underage draft from Western Canada, Brian Trottier, centering Harris now, and Harris leading the National Hockey League in power play goals with 12. the one representative from the Vancouver Canucks, Dennis Verbergaard. Verbergaard with 22 goals this year, just 4 below his career high in the season, and he already has a half a year to go. Coming out now, number 12, Bill Goldsworthy, first ever expansion hockey player to score 200 or more goals in a career, the captain and longtime charter member of the North Stars. Carol Vadnais, illustrious career, 4 years with Oakland and then to the Boston Bruins, and part of that shocking trade that sent Esposito to New York along with Vadnais for Park, Joe Zanuzzi, and Jean Rattel. Steve Vickers, Rookie of the Year 4 years ago with the New York Rangers, a player with the famed Toronto Marley Super Clubs and the Junior A Ontarios in 70 and 71. Gary Unger, who is now just 24 games away from the all-time consecutive game record held by former New York Ranger Andy Heberton, 606 consecutive games for the St. Louis Blue Man. Wolf Paymont from the Kansas City Scouts, their first-round draft pick of last year, and the brother of a former Philadelphia Flyer, Rosaire Paymont. Kurt Bennett, who last year established the National Hockey League record for most goals by an American-born player at 31, and a fine Russian linguist. His brother Harvey plays with the Washington Caps, and his father Harvey Sr., a goaltender with the Boston Bruins. Tom Lysiak, just a scintillating player, number 12 from the Atlanta Flames, along with Bennett, who comes from the great place of Medicine Hat. Number 4, Phil Russell from Edmonton Oil Kings, really the defensive leader now of the Chicago Blackhawks. And his teammate, John Marks from the University of North Dakota, and a first-round draft pick of the Chicago Blackhawks. Now the Philadelphia Flyers, and as you might expect, a standing ovation from the home folks. Wayne Stevenson from Winnipeg, member of the Canadian national team, and in the absence of the great Bernie Perron, has played superbly this year with a 2.76 goals against. One of a pair of brothers playing with Philadelphia, Jimmy Watson from the northern area of Smithers, British Columbia. Reggie Leach, who leads the National Hockey League in goal scoring this year with 31, acquired last year, joined his former teammate Bobby Clark to get a career-high 45 goals. Billy Barber, who ran second 4 years ago to Steve Vickers, in the running for the Rookie of the Year, has averaged 34 goals a year, and already this year has 23. The Moose, Andre Dupont, by the New York Rangers and the St. Louis Blues, and a clutch player and one that Freddie Church always gives 100%. And Rick McLeish, who is substituting for the injured captain Bobby Clark. McLeish, who came to the Flyers from the Boston Bruins, and after a shaky year and a half, came on 3 years ago with a 50-goal, 50-assist, 100-point season. And the coach of the two-time running Stanley Cup champion Flyers, and the coach this year for the second straight year of the Campbell All-Stars, Fred Shero. Now, we're going to have the playing first, Roger Doucette, the voice of the Montreal Foreman, Oh Canada. And if you ever have any patriotism in your heart, it's going to be flamed with the magnificent singing of this great Canadian artist, Roger Doucette. That's an artist, Marv. Brilliantly sung, Roger Doucette. And in the many years that both Marv and I have gone to the Montreal Forum, it just makes the hair rise on the back of the neck. You don't have to be Canadian to be thrilled by that. But now, Mike Douglas, noted singer and television star with his own network show seen throughout the country, will be the guest artist for the singing of the Star Spangled Banner.
Okay, we'll be back with the start of the game after these messages from your local station.
Ladies and gentlemen, the officials for tonight's 29th All-Star Game. Referee number 2, Mr. Lloyd Gilmore. The linesman, number 8, Mr. Neil Armstrong, along with number 9, Mr. John D'Amico. The assistant coaches for the Campbell Conference team, both for the Flyers, Mike Nicola and Barry Ashby. Campbell Conference trainers, Frank Lewis, head trainer, and assistant trainer Jim McKenzie. The trainers for the Wales Conference team from Buffalo, Frank Christie, and from Pittsburgh, Ken Carson.
The officials for tonight's 29th annual National Hockey League All-Star Game. The referee, Lloyd Gilmore, the linesman, John D'Amico and Neil Armstrong. And Gene, from a Philadelphia crowd, a referee, Lloyd Gilmore, was just cheered.
Well, I think they appreciated his firm stand in the Soviet game that we did here a week ago Sunday. He was not intimidated, and that's a first. It may never happen again. All right, it will be Gilmore working his second ever All-Star game. The other lines from John D'Amico is third, and on the far side, number 8, Neil Armstrong, his 10th, more than any other linesman in history. For the first period, the voice of the New York Rangers, Marv Albert.
All right, Gene, Rick McLeish and Peter Mahovlich on the face-off. The Campbell Conference in the white, the dark uniforms, the Wales Conference. And we got a whistle for an offside right off the bat. Fred Shiro starting out with an all-flyer front line. Rick McLeish, the center for Bill Bother, and Reggie Leach. While they're matched up against the Wales Conference, coached by Floyd Smith of Buffalo. Peter Mahovlich at center with Rick Martin and Guy Lafleur on the wings. That is Guy Laporte of Montreal, cross ice now for Brad Park, and then a return. The Wales Conference in possession, off the stick of Mahovlich, and sent back the other way by the Campbell Conference. The Campbell Conference All-Stars comprised of the Patrick and Smythe divisions, and the Wales Conference, the Norris and Adams divisions. Now Peter Mahovlich across ice feed that is broken up by Jim Watson of Philadelphia. McLeish coming together at the near side with LaFleur. Park gets a stick on it, set in across the Wales blue line. It's Dryden to our left for the Wales Conference, Resch to our right for the Campbell Conference. Now Lapointe with a lead for Martin. It's off his skate. Dennis Potvin of the Islanders shoots it back the other way. And once again, the Wales shoot it in. Played back now by Leach. A drive, glove save made by Dryden. Drops it behind for Brad Park of the Boston Bruins. Now the Campbell Conference changing on the fly as the Wales Conference moves out. A lead pass for Pronovo. His shot is off the stick of Resch. And now the Campbell Conference moving back. At center, it's Gary Unger of St. Louis, and he dumps it in. Dryden stops it. Wound around the boards. And here come the Wales Conference once again. The lead from Dion is broken up. This is Unger for the Campbell Conference. Loose two-putt of the Philadelphia Flyers. Dumps it in. Burroughs chases it down. Rather, Larry Robinson does. And flicks it ahead. Unger trying to keep it in. He could not. Now Dion shoots it ahead, but a whistle for an offside with Pronovo in ahead of the play, so they'll bring it back.
Well, Floyd Smith went for power on that first line because normally Steve Shutt, who's in this all-star lineup for the Wales Conference, plays with Mahovlich and LaFleur, but he decided to come up with a dandy Rick Martin on the left side and move Shutt back with Dion and John Pronovo.
Gary Unger, the center for the Campbell Conference, with Goldsworthy and Vickers. DuPont is back with Vadnais. Goldsworthy tries to clear it out, and he does. This is Unger with it now. Unger ahead for Vickers of the New York Rangers. Checked by Dion. He dribbles it in. It's to the right side of Dryden. Somming is checked by Vickers. No score. We're early first period. Last year, the Wales Conference defeated the Campbell Conference by the count of 7-1. The only goal scorer, Dennis Potvin of the New York Islanders. Goldsworthy rolls it around. Vickers takes a check as he shoots it all the way down. Larry Robinson of the Montreal Canadiens replaced his injured teammate Serge Savard, dumping it out at center. From his knees, Billy Harris dumps it back behind the net. Russell of Chicago able to keep it in, but this is Robinson once again. Harris gets a stick on it. Flip save made by Dryden with Harris cruising in front, and we get a stoppage in play. Face-off coming up now on the left side of the Montreal goaltender. A break in the action right here. The score, Campbell Conference nothing, Wales Conference nothing.
Back here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, 2 minutes and 47 seconds. We've had no score, and thus far the game has been played gently.
In diplomatic terms. On the face, a drive is a glove save made by Dryden. Now Bill Clement, former Philadelphia Flyer, shoots it all the way down. It is gobbled up by Resch, and this is Russell of Chicago back behind the net. Brian Poitier of the Islanders centering this line. A drive from in close, stopped by Resch. Greg Shepard with the best opportunity of the night thus far. And now the Campbell Conference starts up. Harris shoots it in to the right side of Dryden. And we got a whistle. He shot it from his half of the ice across the goal line, so it is an icing infraction, and they'll bring it back.
Right sure to get continuity in his offense is Jerry Korab. King Kong, who came to Buffalo from Vancouver in a trade that gave him a little more muscle, back with his teammate, the captain of the Sabres, Jim Schoenfeld. And Those two had superb years last year, and it led the Sabres to the Stanley Cup Finals. This year, they're not quite playing up to par, and the Sabres are struggling.
Shepard centering for Clement on the right and Ramsey on the left side. Jim Watson of the Flyers controls for the Campbell Conference, met by the stick check of Clement, and Potvin retrieves. Now the Campbell Conference trying to set up. That is Watson rolling it around, holding it away from Ramsey. Then a return to Watson. This is a combination Islander and Flyer unit that is on ice right here. Where scoreless first period, Lysiak of Atlanta sends to the Wales blue line. Taken back by Korab of Buffalo. Pass behind Clement. Bennett of Atlanta breaks it up. Back to Potvin. Once again, the Campbell Conference looking to start up. That's Lysiak in pursuit along with Burrows. Lysiak centering feed knocked away. Watson from the point, a slap, stick save by Dryden. Potvin could not get to it. And Ramsey able to shoot it all the way down. As Watson makes the touch, the whistle for icing. And they'll bring it back. Face-off coming up deep in the Wales Conference end.
Well, for those of you in the Campbell Conference around the elite cities who are interested in keeping track of the lines, Philadelphia's gone with McLeish, Barber, and Leach of the Flyers. Gary Unger of St. Louis is centering Steve Vickers of the Rangers and Bill Goldsworthy on the right wing of the North Stars. Ryan Trottier of the Islanders with his teammate Billy Harris on the right, and Dennis Beauregard of Vancouver on the left. In the fourth line, Lysiak and Bennett of Atlanta with Wilf Payment of the Kansas City Scouts.
All right, Park hit back behind the net, able to wind it around the boards. Park in difficulty up the near side. McLeish stick checks it away, has Bobber in front of the net, but it's through the legs of Billy Bobber, kept in by DuPont. Bobber and Park come together. Bobber looking at the side of the net for Leach. Now Leach stationed in front, and it's recovered by the Wales Conference. Dan Maloney able to clear it out, but a whistle for a two-line pass, and they will bring it back. 15 minutes, 9 seconds remaining, first period, and we have no score.
Number 9 at center, Pierre LaRouche, 20 years of age, came in the league last year as an underage draft, 31 goals at 19.
Has that superb snapshot. Won't take the slap that frequently. Now this is Bobber for McLeish. Good move around Park. But he's hit from behind by McAdam, the former Flyer, and Park starts up. Has LaRouche to his left. Park to the Campbell blue line. Kick save off the drive by Maloney. McLeish with the rebound. And the Campbell Conference now on the attack as McLeish dumps it in. McAdam comes together with Bobber. Now McLeish and Park move over. It has worked free. That's McLeish for Leach. It is blocked in front of the net by Lapointe. DuPont's shot is blocked. DuPont able to keep it alive. Backhanded by McLeish is covered up by Dryden. A break in the action now. The score, the Campbell Conference nothing, the Wales Conference nothing.
Nobody has ever come into the league with more notoriety and fanfare than that man, Guy Lafleur. Nobody has lived up to that kind of publicity to better effect.
And the tremendous pressure on him in his early years, and he has really blossomed. They'll do it again.
Marv, I remember coming up as a junior, and you may recall 4 years ago, the first game was an exhibition game in which he played in Montreal against the Bruins, had an assist at the 14-second mark, and the building exploded.
Larry Robinson controls the face. The lead for Lafleur has to come back for it as he's checked by Marks. Brett Hero utilizing the Chicago defensive combination. Score! Rick Martin off the pass out from Mahavlich, and the Wales Conference leads it by the score of 1-0.
Well, you see why that young man, Rick Martin from Montreal, has scored 185 goals in his first 4 seasons, set a rookie record with 44. Gets the pass out, moving in on the left side, the stick down, and bingo. And to the long side along the ice, and no play at all.
Rick Martin, one of the players that the Soviet teams came away most impressed with. Unger breaks out that centering feed from LaFleur, breaks it up, and throws it ahead. Goldsworthy hit by Robinson, who takes it away and shoots it in, but he sends it all the way down, and an icing infraction called as Russell makes the touch. So the Prince of Wales Conference has moved in front by the score of 1-0 on the goal by Rick Martin, his first in All-Star competition. Peter Mahovlich the assist at 6:01 as we take a look at Fred Shiro on the Campbell Conference bench.
You know, it's interesting. There's a record that Martin becomes now the first member of the Wales unit to have an All-Star goal.
Martin tried to hit LaFleur on the right side, but the Campbell Conference able to break it up. Somming and Vickers come together. Somming of Toronto now. Starts up, checked by Unger. This is LaFleur moving on Marks of Chicago. Thread the needle feed goes astray. Mahovlich sets up, but it's broken up by Unger. 13 minutes, 10 seconds left, first period. 1-0, the Wales Conference in front. LaFleur off the steal. 3-man rush, 2 men back, as Mahovlich tries to split through, but he could not. Potvin breaks it up, back behind the Campbell Conference net. He is checked by Rick Martin. Puts to the stick of Vickers of the Rangers. Ahead for Unger, broken up by Robinson, but Unger able to slap it in across the Wales blue line as the Campbell Conference changes on the fly. The speedy Dion loses possession, and Watson leads Unger at center. The Wales Conference changing on the fly as Unger shoots in. Dryden, the goaltender, stops, and with the pass out, the Wales Conference moving up. Dion with a cross ice for Pronovo. Pronovo looks to make it along the boards. Cannot. He is hemmed in. Takes a check from Ververgaard. Dion scrambling in the corner along with Watson. A giveaway. A drive is off the mark. Puck comes out to Korab at the right point. His screen shot goes wide, and the Wales Conference beginning to pepper Chico Resch of the New York Islanders. That's Potvin. Check deep. Now Dion works it free. Looks to Korab. He's got him. The shot is deflected wide. Potvin and Dion chase. Crowd beginning to buzz. The Campbell Conference having difficulty clearing it out. Finally, Ververgaard of Vancouver shoots it out of the zone. This is Harris. He is crunched between Korab and Burrows, kicked to the ice. Fans here in Philadelphia looking for a penalty, but nothing is called as Pronovo shoots it ahead. Now Potvin waits for Harris to move onside, and tangles with the linesman, John D'Amico, and the puck is frozen. There's a break in the action. The score, the Wales Conference 1, the Campbell Conference nothing.
And Harris out there for the Islanders, and number 10 with his back heel from Vancouver, Dennis Ververgaard. Normally with that line of Trottier and Harris with the Islanders, Nick Park Gillies on the left wing.
11 and a half remaining, first period on the goal by Rick Martin. The team in possession right here. The Wales Conference leading 1-0. Some shifty stick work by Guy Lafont of Montreal. Finally stopped by Carol Badney of the Rangers, who slides it around. Now Ververgaard in traffic, loses to Ramsey, a centering feed, and the Campbell Conference able to break out. This is Ververgaard, sitting left side of Dryden. Ververgaard looks to keep it in. He is stopped by Ramsey. Now LaPointe looks one out. Flagged down by DuPont. Checked by Shepard. And again, the Wales Conference takes it back. Recaptured by Lysiak of Atlanta. Ramsey now shoots one back behind Resch. DuPont of the Flyers. Checked by Clement. Gets it out of the zone. Wales Conference taking the play away here in this first period. This is Clement. Beautiful feed. Shepard's drive. Side by Resch, ends up in the crowd back behind the net.
Well, that was Glenn Shepard that was sent in on the left side, and Greg tried as Resch went down to go up to the short side high, but Resch got enough of it to take the play away from him. Right down and up she goes, and Resch the save, and that's why they call him Chico the Man in Uniondale. Clement is normally a center with the Washington Caps in order to give them a little more stability, playing right wing on this line.
Russell winds it around for his Chicago teammate Marks. John Marks played both up front and on the back line. Will Payma, Kansas City, takes a bump from LaPointe, but he gets it out of the zone. This is Marks on the rush. Bryden stops it for Park, watched by Lysiak. The Wales Conference in possession now. They lead it 1-0 on the go by Rick Martin. This is Shepard. A long lead for Clement, but it rolls off his stick and carries all the way down. Payma and Clement come together. Puck is still loose. Now the whistle. And it's frozen, making for a face-off deep in Campbell Conference ice. Chico Resch of the New York Islanders, to our right, 27 years old, out of Moose Jaw, Saskatoon. And he comes off a tremendous season in net for the Islanders, particularly, Gene, in the playoffs against the Philadelphia Flyers.
And you recall in that first quarterfinals, they were down 3 games to none to Pittsburgh, and he led them 4 straight and let Billy Smith watch the rest of the playoffs.
Right by Maloney is blocked. This is Lysiak of Atlanta for the Campbell Conference. He falls down. Bennett, the trailer, could not come up with it. Now LaRouche of Pittsburgh moving on Russell. Stolen by Marks. Whips it around for Bennett, and Lysiak starts up. Lysiak past Somming, trying to hit Bennett, but could not click. This is Somming of Toronto. Blocked by Marks, and Bennett flips it out of the zone. Now Lysiak looking for a right wing feed, could not get it off. Marks pushes it along the boards with Bennett ahead of the play and offside, and then Russell takes. Back to Marks. 9:15 remaining, first period. On a go by Rick Martin, the Wales Conference leading it by the count of 1-0. Larry Robinson of Montreal dumps it in. Russell of Chicago back behind the net. LaRouche almost had an opportunity. Finally, McLeish kicks it out of the zone as the Campbell Conference looks to change on the fly. Now they'll make the complete line change with the stoppage. A break in the action, the score. The Wales Conference 1, Campbell Conference 0.
Rick Martin of Buffalo from Pete Mahovlich Canadiens, and the Wales Conference leads 1-0 with 8:50 remaining the first period.
Somming of Toronto holding it away from McLeish. Fred Shiro has a Philadelphia Flyer unit up front with McLeish and Bobber and Leach. Now this is McLeish, who was a last-minute substitute for the injured Bobby Clark. Bobby suffering from a combination of the flu and a bruised heel. Robinson of Montreal around McLeish. Gets it out of the zone. Watson of the Flyers can't handle it. McAdam, the former Flyer, does. Feeds LaRouche. Beautiful fake by LaRouche, but he goes in a little bit too deep. He was bumped from behind. And McLeish recaptures. McLeish with Bobber left, Leach right. Across the line, a drop for Bobber. And he dumps it in, back behind Bryant. Robinson taps it around the board. This is Maloney of Detroit. Moving on Potvin. 3-man rush. 2-man back. Somming in deep. Nice feed. Resch able to hold on. Chico got it between the pads and was able to hold it.
Fine play by Sounding, who's the first, Boris Sounding with the Leafs, the first European-bred and amateur pro, if you will, hockey player, was signed by the National League, played for the Swedish national team. His home is in Kiruna, Sweden, and deft puck handler, not a physical defenseman, but much like the Canadians, tall, rangy, likes to use the stick, uses angles, just puts a little shoulder in there, has a fine ability to move the puck and a good shot from the point.
All right, this is Burroughs controlling, knocked down by Vadnais. Not a bad jump for Somming from the Swedish national team to the Toronto Maple Leafs, now to the National Hockey League All-Stars. DuPont of the Flyers. Unger of St. Louis for Vickers. He's stopped by LaFleur. Mahovlich and DuPont come together. And Vadnais takes it back. 7.5 remaining. First period. 1-0. The Wales Conference on top. Off the carom, it crosses the goal line, making for the icing infraction as indicated by the linesman, John D'Amico.
Pete Mahovlich for years was known as the Little M, came up with Detroit, was traded to Canadiens, and always lived in the shadow of his bigger brother, Frank Mahovlich, who has gone to different climes. And he came into his own 3 years ago with a good 30-goal season, and last year his best ever, 119 points, and certainly an all-star, working with Lafleur and Schutt with Canadiens.
The drive by Rick Martin deflects up in the crowd. There's number 20, Peter Mahovlich. Face-off coming up now outside the Campbell Conference blue line. It'll be Pete Mahovlich and Gary Unger. Mahovlich the center for Lafleur and Martin. That's Korath, number 4. For Lafleur, number 10. Soft shot gobbled up, and Chico decides to hold on. So we'll get a face-off again deep in the Campbell Conference end.
Hockey fans everywhere are familiar with the exciting and enthusiasm generated when National Hockey League teams play. Excitement that is electric. Tonight's All-Star game and the recent NHL-sponsored Soviet Series capture that same excitement, and even more so. A tribute to the players, management, and fans who appreciate fine hockey. Pete Mahovlich, 20, takes the draw with Andre Dupont, number 6 of the Flyers.
That's Lafleur, but it deflects off the glass back behind the net, and Kara Vadnais indicates that it is stuck in the netting. So they bring it out for a face-off. Marv Albert with Gene Hart from a packed Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This is the 29th annual National Hockey League All-Star game. Only the second year under this newly devised format since the restructure of the league. So we have the Campbell Conference All-Stars going against the Wales Conference All-Stars. Makes it a little cumbersome from the play-by-play point of view. Gene will try to explain things, but we are taking it for granted that most of the folks listening in are knowledgeable enough about the players to know where these players belong. So
when this series started in 47, it was the Stanley Cup champion hosting an all-star team at the beginning of the season.
And then it moved to an East-West format, and now this is the second under this newly devised format. Campbell Conference comprised of the Patrick and Smythe divisions, and the Wales Conference comprised of the Norris and Adams divisions. Moose Dupont chases it down. It has been a lethargic couple of minutes here at the Spectrum. That's Korath for the Wales Conference. Now Burroughs. And Dave Burroughs of Pittsburgh shoots it in. Dupont is back for it. In traffic, Lafleur almost took it away. Unger shoots it out of the zone. Stopped by Rick Martin of Buffalo, chopped away by Vadnais, and now Dupont chases it down once again as the Wales Conference changes on the fly. Vickers of the Rangers, met by Dion, throws it ahead. This is Goldsworthy of Minnesota. Nice feed for Unger. His shot is a glove save by Pride. And a sarcastic roar from the crowd. Very few shots on goal taken by the Campbell Conference All-Stars.
There's a former Cornell All-American with a Harlequin mask, Ken Dryden, who sat out a year in protest and came back with a much bigger contract with Canadian. All-American at Cornell, and has the unusual honor of first in his rookie year coming at the end of the season and winning the Conn Smythe Trophy for the MVP in the playoffs when the Canadians won the Cup, and the next year, in his first full season, won the Rookie of the Year honors in the Calder Trophy.
Dion is the center now for Schutt of Montreal and Fronovo of Pittsburgh. Park and Lapointe on the back line. Brian Trottier on this face-off against Marcel Dion. That's Russell. Kick save and a good one by Dryden. Now the Wales Conference out of the zone. That's Schutt. Glove save made by Resch. Trottier in traffic. Loses control. Schutt looks to set up. Gets it out to Park. His shot way off. Dion chases. No one near him in the corner. Now he spins away from Harris. Good angle shot by Dion, and the pad save by Resch. Park able to keep it in. Fronovo ran to the corner by Harris. And Harris and Fronovo continue to ram at each other. That's the first hard hitting we've seen this evening.
I think that's the thing that the Campbell Conference has lacked. They're letting men roam around in front of the net at will. There's a break in the action and the score. The Wales won and the Campbells no score. Brian Trottier taking the draw. He's wearing the number 19. He's really made the New York Islander power play goal, and for him on the season, he's got 16 goals, 36 assists, 52 points.
Slapped by Brad Park, deflects wide. Billy Harris of the Islanders gets it out. Now Trottier, who leads the Islanders in scoring, dumps it in. It's to the right of Dryden, pushes it away from Ververgaard. Now the Wales Conference maintains possession. They've played a very solid first period. Brad Park, the lead intended for Shutt off the mark. Centering feed, as the offside was waved off, is off the mark, and it's cleared by the Campbell Conference. LaPointe is back for it. 4.5 remaining now, first period. Wales Conference leading 1-0 on the goal by Rick Martin from Peter Mahovlich. Dryden stops it. Now Park. This is Dion. Dion of the Kings loses on the stick check. Russell looks to get it ahead. Now Russell with the drop for Pema. The angle drive is a skate save by Dryden. Clement feeds ahead. Somming, who likes to rush deep. Borio Somming across the Campbell Conference line. Lead is off the ice, intended for Clement. Russell winds it around, kept in by Ramsey of Buffalo. The pass for Somming. His drive is flagged out in front. Kept alive by Shepard of the Bruins. Pushed off the puck by Watson. Now Bennett comes over, gets Shepard in a headlock. Lysiak takes it away. Lysiak now with Watson. Shoots one in a roller right side of Dryden. Campbell Conference beginning to come alive on this shift. Watson checked behind the net by Robinson. Ramsey is hit by Pema. Finally, Shepard gets it out. Clement up to the Campbell Conference blue line. Robinson the trailer. This is Robinson. Screen slap is wide, and it bounds to the crowd.
Lovely play by Clement. Went in on the right side, saw Robinson from Montreal trailing, and then went right in front of Resch as Robinson fired to provide the screen. And Resch had no opportunity really to see the shot, and Robinson just fired a tit wide of the long side. Part of the crowd of 17,007. They haven't had an empty seat in the building in 5.5 years. Shepard of the Bruins, number 14. Tom Lysiak, the Atlanta Flames, number 18 in the draw.
And it's controlled by the Campbell Conference. Vadnais shooting it out. This is Vadnais, former Boston Bruin, now a member of the New York Rangers. Bennett taps it in. Somming chases down. He's checked by Bennett. Goes right after behind the net. Bennett obviously trying to electrify the Campbell Conference club. He's issued a couple of stiff checks on this ship. Pretty centering field. Bennett puts it in. So we're tied at 1. The backhander from in front.
Harvey Bennett. Young son Kurt got the goal on a fine setup from Andre Dupont, who went deep into the left wing corner right out, and the backhander by Bennett deflected off Dryden to the short side, and thus the third member of the Wales, the Campbell Conference, gets a goal on his all-star record. The other two were Dennis Potvin and Gary Unger. Dupont, the assist on the goal by Bennett at 16:59.
We're tied at 1. Dupont shoots in. Lysiak and Burroughs chases. Dryden rolls it around. Dupont in deep. Cannot keep it in. Now Vadnais at center. 2 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this first period. This is Bennett, tied up by LaRouche. But the Campbell Conference able to clear it across the Wales blue line. Korab back for it. Now Burroughs on the rush, checked by Vadnais, and Lysiak picks. This is Bennett moving on Korab, working along the boards. And Maloney looks to dribble out. He does. Vadnais at center. A long shift for the Lysiak line. Wilf Pema with the lead for Lysiak, who was pushed from behind by Korab. Now the Campbell Conference beginning to settle down here in the first period. They were severely outplayed earlier. Lysiak hits the ice off that check from Burroughs. Now we get a line change. The Flyer unit stepping on, greeted by that roar from the crowd. This is LaRouche, loses to Barber. Sweep check by Burroughs, but McLeish takes it back. He's ahead of the play and offside. A break in the action with the score. Campbell Conference 1, Wales Conference 1.
There's the goal by Bennett as he tipped it short side past Ken Dryden to tie this game, and they're yelling, "Let's go Flyers."
A race, and Martin beats Mark Stewart, sets up Mahavlich. This is Martin. Now LaFleur. The shot is in. Deflected from in front of the net. The drive from the left point taken by LaPointe. And it was deflected in, giving the Wales Conference a 2-1 lead.
Pete Mahavlich got that cleanly off to the right side of Resch as LaFleur made this an all-Canadian goal back to LaPointe. And there was Mr. Mahavlich about 5 feet off to the right, getting that about ankle high and driving it home for the score. And it's 2-1, the Wales.
LaPointe in pursuit. Watched by Leach. Near giveaway pass. Mahavlich looks to start it all over again. 1:15 remaining now in this first period. Rick Martin of Buffalo. Hit by Bobber, loses control. Potvin after it now. He's in traffic behind his own net. Martin with the turnaround slap. Kept alive by Park. His drive score! He beat Chico Resch to the short side.
Well, I'm sure Chico would say it was a good shot, but I should have had it. As Park, who has a blister and is probably one of the finest and toughest shooting defensemen from that side, was just at the top of the circle along the near boards and fired, and it looked like Resch wasn't ready, and it fired through his pants for a goal. And so the Wales conference team has scored a pair in 29 seconds. The first Mahavlich from LaPointe, and this one perhaps Brad Park of the Boston Bruins unassisted.
Well, things have opened up here in the latter stages of the first period. We now have 50 seconds remaining in the period, and the Wales Conference leads it 3-1. Salming of Toronto off the skates of Dion caroms across the Campbell Conference blue line. Watson then feeds around the boards. Robinson on the steal. A lead in front. Dion is stopped by Resch. Now Robinson scrambles back for it, cannot keep in. Half-minute remaining in the period. Salming now, watched by Vickers. Pronovo of Pittsburgh. Lead intended for Dion, carries behind the goal line once again. And here's Goldsworthy of Minnesota with 15 seconds remaining in the period. Now Dryden stops it. Salming winds it around. 10 seconds left. Robinson at center. Robinson now with the slap that deflects off Potvin, and that will do it for this first period. We'll be back with our between period summary after this pause for station identification.
1 minute, do a 1 minute summary.
This is
So about 1 minute, you should be.
1 minute, and we'll return after these messages.
Well, Mahavlich looks like he's got the try. A goal and 2 assists in the first period.
I mentioned Clark coming up. I didn't say when, though. At the Spectrum in Philadelphia, Marv Albert with Gene Hart between periods 1 and 2 of the 29th annual National Hockey League All-Star Game. And you know, sports fans always enjoy selecting All-Star teams, whatever the sport. So in the spirit of the All-Star Game, we have put together a decade-by-decade All-Star team. And I'm sure you'll agree and also disagree with many of our selections. Let's take a look.
First, let's look at the team for the 1930s. In goal, Chicago's Chuck Gardner, an all-star 5 times in the 30s until struck down by a brain tumor when just 30 years old. On defense, Boston's Eddie Shore, the only defenseman to win the Hart Trophy 4 times. Shore also won all-star recognition on 8 occasions. On defense, Earl Seibert, who played with New York, Chicago, and Detroit, being selected an all-star 10 consecutive seasons and one of the first defensemen to drop down to block shots. At center, Montreal's Howie Morenz, who won the Hart Trophy 3 times and was selected in a 1950 Canadian Press poll as the outstanding hockey player of the half-century. On right wing, Toronto's Charlie Conacher, who led the league in scoring twice and was the top goal scorer on 4 occasions. On left wing, Harvey Busher Jackson, who played on the same line with Conacher and Joe Primo, the Leafs' famous kid line, and Busher was selected an all-star on 5 occasions. Moving into the 1940s, in goal, Montreal's Bill Dernan, who won the Vezina Trophy 6 times and was an all-star 6 times. On defense, Detroit's Blackjack Stewart, an all-star on 5 occasions who helped the Red Wings to 2 Stanley Cups. Also on defense, Emile Butch Bouchard, who won all-star berths 5 times while playing for Canadians. Today, his son Pierre plays on Montreal's defense. At center, Boston's Bill Cowley, perhaps the finest playmaking center the NHL has ever seen. He won the Hart Trophy twice and was selected an all-star 5 times. On left wing, Chicago's Doug Bentley. He won the scoring title in 1942 and was an all-star on 3 occasions. At right wing, who else? Canadien Maurice Rocket Richard, the man who scored 50 goals in 50 games in 1944-45 and for years reigned as the highest scorer in NHL history. The Rocket still holds the record of 5 goals and 3 assists in 1 game. On to the 1950s and more great names from the past. In goal for the all-star team of the 50s, Terry Sawchuk, the all-time shutout king with 103 to his credit, along with 4 Vezina trophies and 7 all-star team selections. On defense, Montreal's Doug Harvey, a defenseman who could truly control the game. Harvey won the Norris Trophy 7 times and was selected to an all-star team 11 consecutive seasons. Also on defense, Leonard Red Kelly, today the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs. But he was the first winner of the Norris Trophy, and in the 50s, he won 8 all-star selections. At center, Montreal's Jean Beliveau, who played on 10 Stanley Cup winning Canadian teams and captained 5 of them. He was selected an all-star on 10 occasions. Beliveau was one of the greatest team leaders hockey has ever known. At left wing, Detroit's Ted Lindsay, the NHL's all-time penalty king with 1,808 minutes, but an all-star left winger 9 seasons. At right wing, Lindsay's line mate, Gordie Howe, the man whose magnificent career spanned 25 years. 21 of those years, he won all-star recognition, and he has earned all-star right wing position for 2 decades, both the 50s and the 60s. In goal for the 60s, the great Glenn Hall, whose career spanned 3 teams and earned him 11 all-star berths. On defense, Chicago's Pierre Pilote, a 3-time winner of the Norris Trophy who won 8 consecutive all-star nominations. Also on defense, Boston's Bobby Orr, who made the second team in his rookie season 1966-67 and has been a unanimous first-team pick every year since. At center, Chicago's Stan Mikita, who led the league in scoring 4 times in the 60s and has 8 All-Star berths to his credit. Right wing, we already noted, was Howe. And on left wing, Chicago's Golden Jet, Bobby Hull, the man who scored 50 or more goals in 4 seasons and was named an All-Star 10 times. Now let's take a look at an All-Star team based on the first half of the 1970s. In goal, Chicago's Tony Esposito, who has won the Vezina Trophy 3 times, in addition to gaining 3 All-Star team selections. On defense, Bobby Orr, a 5-time All-Star selection in the 70s, whose 16 individual awards, including 8 consecutive Norris trophies, to give him more than any other player in NHL history. Also on defense, Brad Park, a player who would most certainly have won a Norris had not Mr. Orr been around. Park has been nominated to an All-Star berth 4 times. At center, Phil Esposito, who has won the Art Ross Trophy 5 times. The league leader in goals scored for the last 6 years in a row, Esposito is a 5-time All-Star. On right wing, the Roadrunner, Yvan Cournoyer, an All-Star 3 times. In the 1973 Stanley Cup, he won the Conn Smythe Trophy and set a league record with 15 goals. On left wing, Richard Martin, who scored a record-setting 44 goals as a rookie and has been over the 50 mark twice. He is a 2-time All-Star. That's almost 5 decades of All-Stars, a lot of illustrious names, and no doubt a lot of fond memories.
The special souvenir commemorative magazine of the much-publicized NHL Soviet Team Series remains available in limited quantities, and you may obtain your copy by sending $2.50, which includes postage and handling, to Post Office Box 12758, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, 19134. Remember, $2.50, check or money order to NHL, Post Office Box 12758, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the zip code 19134. The unhappiest guy in the whole building right now is seated next to me, not because he doesn't love me, but he'd rather be on the ice. And Bobby, this is only the 2nd time in your entire career that I can think of where you were sidelined by an injury. 4 years ago with an infected elbow, and then you've sat out some other games just to get a rest, but you must be a little disappointed.
Well, I think, Gene, if I would have known this morning or yesterday that I couldn't have played tonight, I would have been a little easier. I come down the game expecting to play tonight, and, you know, I went through half of the warm-up, and I just couldn't skate, and Ashby just said, that's it, you can't play, so, you know.
All right, now, what are you going to do to make these people believe out there that in an exhibition game you're really upset at not playing?
Well, I think all the players in the league want to play in a game like this, Gene. I mean, you know, there's, what, 250 or 300 players in the league, and they pick what are supposed to be the best 40 at this time up to the first half of the season, and if you're chosen to play, you got to be proud of it, and you want to play in this game. And I was just disappointed that, you know, I couldn't play.
Let's talk about your line. Leach on one side and Barber on the other. Now, what difficulties do they have with McLeish centering them, because you are 2 such diverse types of centers?
Well, you know, I don't know. We're all coached the same way. I think McLeish probably a much better puck carrier than myself. He'll handle the puck a lot more. He won't move it as often until he's in a lot deeper than what I am. You know, I'll move the puck outside the blue line. He'll move it from inside and stuff. So it makes my wingers skate a little slower and wait a little longer. But they won't have any trouble, I don't think.
You'll be all right, though, next year for Vancouver. Our guest has been the captain of the Philadelphia Flyers, Hart Trophy winner, and what have you, Bobby Clarke. And Bobby, guests on our telecast, as a gift from the National Hockey League Services, will receive this handsome radio from Sony. It's not just a radio, it's a Sony. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
changes in scoring. On the first Wales Conference goal, add an assist to number 10, Guy Lafleur. On the second Wales Conference goal, add an assist to number 10, Guy Lafleur. And on the third Wales Conference goal, an assist originally credited to Guy Lafleur should go to number 7, Rick Martin.
Play is on in the second period. Gene Hart along with Marv Albert. 20 seconds in. The Wales Conference leads in the game 3-1. They control the puck behind their own net to the right. Boyer Salming of the Leafs plays up, and at center ice, John Frontevo can't get it down, and it's kept in by the Flyers' Rick McLeish. Along the near side, Salming challenges Leach of the Campbell Conference. It's behind the Wales net, dug out by Barber right out in front. Cleared to the far corner. Centered by Jimmy Watson. Taken away from him by Salming. It clears up with the near side. Looking for Steve Shutt. Behind the net goes Potvin. And the centering shot by Billy Barber, number 11, is wide to the near side. Larry Robinson looking up at center ice. Puts it on the stick of Marcel Dion. A wild pass gathered in by Campbell's Dennis Potvin. Over the line on the left wing. Lets it go and ride with a super save with a quick glove on the left side to hang on and stop play.
Wales Conference on top by the score of 3-1 on goals by Rick Martin, Pete Mahovlich, and Brad Park. Kurt Bennett for the Campbell Conference. In fact, on that last goal by Brad Park, they have now changed the scoring, assisted by Martin and Mahovlich at the 19-minute mark.
Greg Shepard out there taking the draw with Gary Unger in the white. Shepard for the Wales around the near side. Boom, Ramsey has belted on the good check by Bill Goldsworthy of the North Stars with the white helmet wearing the number 12. Goldie, as they call him, back in his own end to DuPont. Back to Goldsworthy at center. On the left side carrying Steve Vickers, former Rookie of the Year. Down deep into the Wales corner. Bang, in goes Dave Burrows. In goes Vickers. The puck is flung free by Billy Clement. Carrying now Craig Ramsey of the Wales All-Stars. Broken down by Goldsworthy in the far corner. Centering a pass. Unger can't get his stick on it as he's tied up by Burrows. On the Wales Conference clears. Here we got Ramsey 2-on-1 with Clement. Billy Clement to Ramsey in. Great shot. Wide. And Fletch took the net away. Greg Shepard centers. And right in front was Clement. Couldn't reach it. And the puck slides between the Wales Conference defense and all the way down the ice. Dave Burrows for the Wales Conference. Up on the far side to Big Jerry Korath to Buffalo teammate Craig Ramsey. Fires wide of Chico Resch. Taken away by Steve Vickers and played up along the near side. Kept in by Burrows. Burrows winds it down behind the Campbell Conference net. Broken down by Clement. He's got Ramsey in front. And Rush, the goaltender, reaches up to knock the puck down and cover for a stoppage. A break in the action with the score. The Wales Conference 3 and the Campbell Conference 1. Back here, Gene Hart with Marv Albert. See the score 3-1, 17:41 remaining second period. We've got LaRouche, number 9, 8 on the near side. Dan Maloney, and number 12 is Alan McAdam for the Wales. Centering is Billy Harris along with Trottier make that, and Dennis Ferbergard. McAdam fires short side, Resch the save. McAdam kicks the puck free to the near side. LaPointe with a drive. Oh, tipped right on the net by LaRouche, number 9 in front, and Resch was equal. Covering the puck is McAdam. Wild pass to the near boards, and Billy Harris for the Campbell Conference up. Leading him is Phil Russell, but the pass eludes Russell and is cleared out to center ice by LaPointe. Trottier can't get in. Puck taken away by LaRouche. That's Dan Maloney, number 8. Mildly bumped by Phil Russell. Maybe in normal circumstances, that'd have been a bit of a ripper. Now Harris is twisted around by Brad Park. Trottier can't get anything going. As we say, the Campbell has not been able to aggressively really bang through the Wales defense, and they've been meeting him at the blue line, effectively thwarting much play through the offensive zone. Carrying it in is McAdam. Drop pass looking for Maloney. Play nicely broken up front by Harris. Now forechecking is LaRouche, number 9 in the orange. But out breaks Ferbergard. Over the line to Billy Harris. Harris deep into that right wing corner. Right on. The backhander, and Dryden covers it. The puck played out by Maloney in the far wing. Too far for McAdam. Covering back at the Campbell Conference line is John Marks of the Chicago Blackhawks. Play winds up now behind the Wales Conference net. Guy Lapointe fires one off Tom Lysiak's stick. Puck loose at center. At Dennis Potvin, Fort Campbell's. Fire it down alongside Dryden. With it, Brad Park up along the left side. Maloney puts it on LaRusse's stick at center ice. Flips one in on Rush, reaches high over his head like a first baseman as the Wales Conference brings out a line change. They've got Martin out there along with Lafleur and Mahavlich, and as the conference Campbells hit the line, going in on the left side was Lysiak, but on the near side was Wilf Paymont offside.
Jim, we mentioned earlier the 2 goals within 29 seconds in that first period set an all-star record for fastest 2 goals by a team. And now we're told 3 goals by both teams within 2 minutes and 1 second sets a record for the fastest 3 goals by 2 clubs. The previous record set at Madison Square Garden 2 years ago. They scored 3 within 3 minutes and 2 seconds. Well, our statistician Jeff Shermack earning his money this evening.
Are you paying him? I'm not.
Funny, I told him you would.
Oh, we'll worry about that later. Out there, Martin with Lafleur and Mahavlich for the Wales. The Campbell Conference goes with, let's pick it up now. That's Jimmy Watson up to Bennett on the far side. Through to Paymont. He can't control. And the puck rolls alongside the Wales Conference net. Larry Robinson, the big rangy defenseman from Montreal, wheels it around the near side. Puts it on Mahavlich's stick at center. Breaks near side with Rick Martin. Over the line, offside on the far wing is Guy Lafleur.
Wilf Paymont, the Kansas City Scouts, who is on ice right here for the Campbell Conference All-Stars, just 20 years old, the #1 draft pick of the Scouts last season. And Gene, he is the youngest of 16 children. His father, among other activities, wrestled bears and was a Canadian wrist wrestling champion. That's Paymont with it right there.
Nice play by Salming to cut across and take the shot away as Lafleur sends it away to center. And here's Martin flying, and he'll get the big shot. But he hooked to the left side, lost control, picked it up along the boards. Tried to hit Mahavlich, deflects back to Robinson. We got some broken sticks there somewhere. Robinson right in front. Martin shot. Resch the big save as Martin was in tight, and Resch smothered the open part of the net.
One of those rare situations where Rick Martin could not tee up the shot and get the good shot off. He was in a little bit too deep and caught it with the heel of his stick. So Chico Resch right there able to make the stop. A look at Peter Mahavlich of the Montreal Canadiens as he gets set to go on this face-off against the Flyers, Rick McLeish.
McLeish again with Barber and Leach. DuPont along with Carol Vadnais, who winds it behind the net to DuPont. Sets up as Vadnais swings left. McLeish in front of the net, so DuPont will carry it out himself. At the Campbell Conference line, at the Wales line along the far side. Neat little poke check by Lafleur, number 10, pokes it back to center. Vadnais waits for his line to clear, drives it into the zone. Larry Robinson up ice along the near side, kept in by Vadnais. Into the right wing corner, hooks inside nicely, a shot! And it was deflected wide by Martin. Played around the far side, fine effort by Vadnais. McLeish trying to center for Leach. It's loose in front, and Dryden slams that big left glove on before Leach 27 can get in close. There's a break in the action with a score. The Wales Conference 3, the Campbell Conference 1.
Dryden is number 1, right? 1.73.
Yeah. Gene Hardlong with Marv Albert, DuPont number 6. No shot taken away by John Fronteau, so they dub it around to the near side. Vadnais keeps it in to McLeish, 27 in the corner, wrapped up by Burroughs of Pittsburgh, number 3. Barber trying to kick it free, but couldn't get it away from Korat before Lloyd Gilmore, the referee, stopped play.
Gene, Fred Shiro, the coach of the Campbell Conference, said earlier that he doesn't want to become the first coach to lose 2 games in a row. He says he'll stay with the guys who are playing best this time, as opposed to last year when his club lost 7-1. So we'll have to see what develops. Right here, his club is trailing 3-1.
That's Billy Barber, number 11. He's got Leach in front, and he just gets a piece of it. as it was driven off his stick by Burroughs. McLeish in front. That's Leach with a backhand setup. Cut down by number 4, Korab, who makes the fine play and sends it away at center ice. Schutt, number 17, can control. Badney up to no one in particular. Puck kicks free to Schutt, number 17, trailed by Marcel Dion. Nice hook pass looking in front of the net for Schutt. Broken up by the Campbell Conference's defenseman, number 6, Andre Dupont. Dion over the line. Got a man in front. Short shot. Rebound off the pad of Rush. Is cleared away to center ice by McLeish on a 4-man rush. At the line. Drop pass to Leach. Cutting through to the slot. Bangs a pass off the near boards to Vadnais, but he cannot control as it went in too deep. McLeish now battling along the near side with Jean Pronovo. In comes defenseman Burroughs along with Philadelphia's Billy Barber. The 4 of them jam it up, and play is called. 13-18 remaining in the period, and Campbell still trailed by 2.
And now both clubs make line changes. Take another look at this last rush. The kick saved by Chico Resch. And then the Campbell Conference defense able to clear it out of the zone. There he is, Glenn Chico Resch. 2 years ago, Chico in the minor leagues playing goal for Fort Worth. Now he's a National Hockey League All-Star.
There's Brad Park, 3-time first-team All-Star, 2-time second-team in his career. Guy Lapointe in on Resch, sets it up in front for John Marks. A Chicago pass stolen away in front of shot. Great save off Ramsey. Rebound by Clement. Tries to hit Greg Shepard. Back to Ramsey, and it rolls off his stick to center ice. Ramsey, more of a fine checker and a great penalty killer, almost got his first All-Star goal. That's Park. Over the line to Ramsey. He's got man in front, Shepard, and he couldn't control the puck. And as he went behind the net, tried to snake it away from Resch out in front to the open net area, but Resch beat him on that play.
And Gene Chico Resch getting very little help from his defense these last couple of sequences. His club trailing, Campbell Conference trailing the Wales Conference by the count of 3-1, and a face-off to the left of Chico Resch.
That's Clement back to Lapointe with a drive. Resch the easy save. Rolls it off for Phil Russell. For the Campbell Conference Stars, Goldsworthy up to Unger. Unger at center ice. Nobody on the right wing, and it's picked off by Ramsey, who retreats behind the Wales Conference net. Loses it. As behind the net battling with Steve Vickers, but can't control. And now it's lifted past Russell along the near side by Guy Lapointe back into the Campbell zone. John Marks up to Steve Vickers, far side, through to Unger, over the line. 40-footer, wide of the short side as Lapointe went down to cut off the angle. Near side play, boom against Park, but out comes Sounding. Clement on the far wing, going one-on-one with Marks, and Marks fates him the puck behind the Campbell net. Poked off to the near side. Ramsey tries to center it. Blocked the clearing pass by Russell. It goes to Shepard, and he almost takes off Gary Unger's head as Campbell's on the far side. Marks up to Unger at center ice, crosses the red line, dumps it into the Wales Conference zone as out comes a line change. They've got Harris out there along with Trottier and Beauregard. Lapointe from center trying to hit Maloney behind the Campbell defense. Nobody there except Dennis Potvin of the Islanders. Up at center, through past Trottier, his teammate with New York, as the Campbell just can't get anything going. Brad Park up at center, at the Campbell line, penetrates, dumps it into the corner, tries to chase it, but Potvin and Harris take him out as it's wound around the Beauregard. He can't get it past McAdam, number 12. Now they'll try it again. Beauregard 10, McAdam number 12, and the puck finally taken away by Trottier. Hits Harris at center, going over the line in the right wing against Larry Robinson. Tries to turn him. Centering pass, and Robinson makes the play. Trottier was there, put it right out in front, but no one there except Alan McAdam. Comes back with Pierre LaRouche. Drops a pass to LaRouche. He'll get a good drive on Rush and fires long side wide. Here comes Maloney, battling along the near side with Harris, with Trottier, and we'll get a stoppage of play. Maloney with the Detroit Red Wings, Harris and Trottier with the Islanders. A break in the action, the score 3-1 the Wales Conference.
Wayne Stevenson of the Philadelphia Flyers now coming on to replace Chico Resch, and the hand for Stevenson. Seeing a guy who played in only 12 games and spelling Bernie Parent last year, played well at 2.72 goals against, with Parent out with that pinched nerve injury. Stevenson has played in every Flyer game but 3 and played very well.
Sign man behind the bench. He's a fixture here. Put up his usual sign, Fort Wayne. Salming has no drive into the right wing corner. Behind the net, Maloney tries to swing out in front. Badney is ridden off the puck. LaRouche right up the slot. A shot in front. Oh, and a great save. Maloney fan, a rebound, and a score by Alan McAdam. Of the California Seals from Maloney, and it's 4-1 as Mr. Wayne Stevenson got his baptism of fire in the first 10 seconds of play.
Well, a quickie welcome to Wayne Stevenson, and once again, the Campbell Conference All-Star defense not able to clear. There's shot number 1. There's shot number 2, and it's over the fallen Stevenson. 4-1 the score. The Wales Conference on top. And the former Flyer, Al McAdam, the goal scorer. Gyrations in the net by Ken Dryden. He likes to continue to loosen up. Check that, Wayne Thomas, who just came on. So Wayne Thomas now in the net, replacing Dryden.
Badney centers knocked behind the net by Robinson. Badney will try again from the right wing corner as Campbell's down by 3. Foiled again as Salming won't let him maneuver. There's Verbergaard out in front, and Harris couldn't reach it as Wayne Thomas of the Leafs slipped down in the crease and stopped play. All right, the official on the goal.
It is McAdam from Maloney at 9-3-4. And now Wayne Thomas has come on, replacing Ken Dryden. Thomas, acquired by Toronto from Montreal for number 1 draft pick in the 76 amateur draft. Comes off a strange year when Ken Dryden took a year off from hockey. Thomas was number 1 with Montreal. Last year when Dryden returned, Thomas led the league in guest appearances on radio and TV. Did not play in a game.
Did not play in a minute. Marv, look at the shots on goal. It's now 25-11 for the Wales Conference, and in this period they've outshot the Campbell Conference 12-2. And that's just a bit about the margin of play as we get first the shot by Maloney, the rebound by McAdam, as Badney tried to take the place of Stevenson but couldn't find the shot as it went over his left shoulder. Behind the net, Harris and Trottier working on Salming. It's cleared out, but Dupont can't get it. Robinson gives it away to Dupont along those left wing boards. He's tied up by McAdam, and it's played out on the right side to LaRouche. LaRouche breaks, has Maloney flying on the left side. He'll drive wide of the short side, and it's cleared off to Verbergaard. Up the slot. Here comes Vadney. He's got a man on the near side. Billy Harris over the line. Looks to throw it back to Vadney at the point, and the pass is broken up by LaRouche. Cleared to the Campbell Conference line where John Marks up past Will Paymont. Paymont has an offside touch as the two-line pass with 9:18 remaining in the second period. 4-1 to Wales.
A reminder, following this second period, we will have a unique hockey quiz for you, our most wanted man hockey quiz. So get out the pencil and paper. That'll be upcoming between periods 2 and 3. Announcers Blazers, courtesy of Barney's. Barney's, New York, the world's largest men's clothing store.
All right, Lafleur, Mahovlich, and Martin out there instrumental in all of the 3 goals for the Wales in the first period. There goes Kurt Bennett, who has scored the 1 Campbell Conference goal out there with Paymont and Lysiak along the near side. Paymont sends it up ice to Phil Russell. Hawked from behind by Martin. Carries it to the Wales line. Rolls it in on Thomas. He clears it off the far boards. Oh, Lafleur almost had it taken away, but gets past Lysiak. Up to Mahovlich at center. Back to Lafleur. Over the line, he's got Martin in front. Pass deflected by Martin to Lysiak. Stains up 2-on-2 with Bennett. Tries to go along the boards. Has no place to go. Rolls it into the right wing corner to Bennett. Bennett is challenged there by Jerry Korab, and we get a stoppage of play. There's a break in the action with 8:34 remaining. 4-1 Wales. Well, sure has now been outscored 11-2 in his all-star appearances.
Marv Albert with Gene Hart from the Spectrum in Philly. This is the 29th annual NHL All-Star Game. The Prince of Wales Conference on top 4-1.
Bennett gets a weak shot in on Thomas. Lysiak trying to center. That's broken up. Behind the net goes Paymon. He's got a man in front. Tries it himself. Nice break up in there by Korab. Trying again. The near corner is Lysiak. Out in front to Bennett. Spun around. Back to Lysiak. Behind the net. Looking for help. Wales won't give them the middle. In front to Bennett. Poked away and out breaks Mahovlich. He'll look up ice for Lafleur. Lafleur going right on in. A drive. He scores! Guy Lafleur. And it's 5-1 at 11:54. And a great setup by Mahovlich, who now has a goal and 3 assists.
And this game is taking on all the shades of a year ago when the Wales Conference blasted the Campbell Conference 7-1. A gorgeous shot by Guy Lafleur. Stevenson got the leg out, could not come up with that blast off the stick of the Montreal Canadiens, number 10, Lafleur.
Well, that's the official. Lafleur is first in playoffs at 11:54 from Mahovlich. Now you can see that play developing. Well, McLeish out there now, and the Campbells have to go some. They're down by 4. All right, but they lose the puck. Take it away. A weak shot by Billy Barber, number 11 of the Flyers. Kicked away behind the net and started up ice by Lapointe. Lapointe too far for Dion. McLeish has it to the open left side to Jimmy Watson. Back near side Leach. Leach going into the corner. Centers right in front of Thomas. They scramble. And Thomas sits on it with Barber number 11 and McLeish 21 looking for rebound.
Guy Lafleur from Mahovlich at 11:54. That's the official scoring. As we take another look, here is the blast by Lafleur to the right. Bingo, right past Stevenson. And it is a 5-1 hockey game.
Just caught the inside post, Marv. There's no chance for Stevenson to make the save. Well, we may get some people here go home. As it's 5-1, and it's 26-14 on the shots. And the experience of that one line, really, the most mature, powerful line on either club has been the difference as they've accounted for 5 goals for the Wales. Lenny Barber, number 11, runs over Brad Park. In comes Steve Shutt. Barber digs it out. He's got a man out at the point, but cutting in to the left was Dennis Potvin, and the embarrassing pass goes all the way down the ice. Potvin retrieves with 7 minutes remaining in the second period. Up the slot to Barber. Barber's pass, kick free. Leach, right side for McLeish. Trails it behind him on the near side. Shot wide of the net. And the rebound out taken by Pronovo of the Wales. Drops the pass back. Dion over the line. Offside on the left wing of Steve Shutt, 17. There's a break in the action with the score. The Wales Conference 5, the Campbell Conference 1.
They have added an assist on that Lafleur goal. Rick Martin also picks up an assist. As play resumes, that puck deflects to the crowd. The blast taken by Shutt.
I think we've got a record tie here for a number of points in the game. Let's meet Mahovlich. Third All-Star to get 3 assists in the game, and that's a group of names, huh? Guy Lafleur, Doug Harvey, and Dickie Moore. They used to play pretty good. High puck along the near side. Lapointe into the left wing corner. Dion tries to throw it out in front. Blocked by Vadnais. Rolls around to Jean Pronovo along the far boards. Back down behind Dion. Challenged by Vadnais, who takes it away and then sits on the puck. And Lloyd Gilmer wants them to make the play, and they are doing it so far. He'll refuse to blow the whistle. Finally, it's played out by Vadnais to Bill Goldsworthy. Looks for Gary Unger. Pass broken down, and Dion right out in front. He goes to shoot. He scores! Marcel Dion as Unger coughed it up, and the game is getting embarrassingly one-sided. 6-1 for Dion. His first goal in All-Star play, and that's unassisted.
A game like this is really difficult to figure, and of course, I recall saying the same thing last year when the Campbell Conference was blasted by the count of 7-1, as we see the Dion goal once again after pulling Stevenson out of position. It always comes down in all-star competition, be it hockey or basketball or football or baseball. The guys that want to play will do it. And obviously with the 6-1 count right here, and with the goaltenders for the Campbell Conference not getting much help defensively, the Wales Conference, the team that wants to play.
Well, Wayne Stevenson's only played 4.5 minutes, and he's been burned for 3 goals. That certainly doesn't make Flyer fans here at the Spectrum happy. 5:44 remaining as Dion gets it unassisted at 13:51.
In this second period, since Stevenson came on for Resch, it's McAdam from Maloney at 9:34. LaFleur from the Havlicek mark, 11:54. And the unassisted score by Dion at 13:51.
Shots in this period are 14-5. Over the line comes Ramsey. Plate taken away by Marks. He overskates. And you know what it may be now? We talked about the youth about this Campbell squad, and they may be getting rattled at this score. And really under tight pressure. There's Phil Russell back. Teammate Russell and Marks of Chicago, the Campbell's defense right now. Trottier and Harris for the Islanders, along with Beauregard of Vancouver. Larry Robinson loses it. Now breaks Marks up to Beauregard. Hits Harris at the Wales line. Back to Beauregard. Into Harris. Shot wide of the net. Trottier along the near side. Spun out by Selming, 21, with the blue helmet. And Ramsey gives it up to Robinson. Back at center ice, too far. Russell makes a bad play. Penetrating as Ramsey's got Clement in front of the net. Cairns off the far boards to Salming. Salming goes inside to Shepard. To Clement, tries to come out in front. Salming has the puck. Right out in front. Nobody challenges him. And Stevenson has to make the save as the Campbell defense standing around right now watching. Russell has the puck blocked. It comes around to Beauregard. Finally hits Trottier. Trottier rolls it weakly up to Harris. Taken away by Robinson. And right now, the Campbells look rattled. 4.5 left in the second period. The Wales lead 6-1. Back comes Marks off the pads of Wayne Thomas right in front. Beauregard. He was set up beautifully and shanked the shot to the right as LaRouche was right behind him. Up on the far side, they try to go quick wide to McAdam. Taken away by Jimmy Watson. Down alongside goaltender Thomas. Watson bumps off Sounding, but it's McAdam with a puck to center. Too far ahead for LaRouche, and coming out now is Kurt Bennett, number 17, of the Atlanta Flames. Tied up by LaRouche, number 9. LaRouche tries to center. Nobody there. McAdam chasing Lysiak on the far side. Lysiak, number 18, for the Campbells in the white jersey. Over the line on the near side. Drops to Paymont. Reading it all the way was Maloney. And the Campbells right now are suffering stage fright. With a break in the action, the score, the Wales 6 and the Campbells 1. All right, we've got Bennett along with Paymont and Lysiak for the Campbells. LaRouche centering, McAdam and Maloney. Defensively for the team in white, the Campbells, they've got Jimmy Watson back with Dennis Potvin. Paymont tries to penetrate. Maloney behind the net. Digs it out and up to LaRouche. Tips it on the near side, and we've got Burroughs flying with one man. McAdam over the line. Holes drives in on Stevenson, and it's wide short side. Dennis Potvin for the Campbell Conference swings around to the left of his net. To center, right wings coming Lysiak. Holes at the line. Playing through to Potvin. It rolls off his stick, and Thomas, the goaltender, to the far corner. McAdam up to LaRouche. It's Maloney. There's nobody here. He'll go right on in. Goes to shoot. Short side. Say, scores. Now, wait a minute. The light is on. Did they signal goal? Yes, they did. And it hit him the near side and came out, and it's 7-1 as Maloney joins the jam session.
And we'll get another look at that. No question about it. In and out to the short side. He beats Stevenson to the right. And Maloney going in all by himself. Open alley down that left wing. Beating Stevenson to the right. It pounded out. And it is now a 7-1 hockey game. The Wales Conference on top.
All right, LaRouche and Robinson got the assist.
An interesting sight of the crowd, Gene.
Oh, well.
You know that man?
No, I don't. Unless it's Mr. Dryden, I don't know. Well, that comes at 16:59 51, Maloney from LaRouche and Robinson, and it is 7-1. Now LaFleur on a break, and he's tripped from behind, and we're going to have the game's first penalty against Billy Barber for hooking. But it wouldn't have mattered anyway. Had LaFleur touched up, he'd have been offside, so the first penalty of the game was a useless one.
And the goal by Maloney, his first in All-Star competition, assisted by LaRouche. And the former Philadelphia Flyer, Al McAdam, at 16:59. And now the penalty upcoming, right there, you see it. First of the evening, Bill Barber for a hook at 17:24. There is Bill Barber of the Philadelphia Flyers.
Barber from Ontario, his 4th year with the Philadelphia Flyers. 33 goal average. This year he's already had 23, which is well above his average through the year, and we've just reached the halfway point, a possible 40-goal year for him. Right now, the Campbells are trying to avoid a rout. It's at that proportion already. They don't want it to get any worse. 7-1 is McLeish killing the penalty out there with Unger, Potvin, and Phil Russell. McLeish to the Campbell Wales line. Takes a shot that's smothered by LaPointe and Park. Unger chases it behind the net, number 7, but Park, for the Wales in the orange, carries the puck. Power play, LaFleur, Martin, Mahovlich, Park, and LaPointe. That's powerful, to say the least. Rolling in on Stevenson. And it's a shame Wayne, before his home folks, has not had a good period, but you can't blame him. Out comes Unger. One-on-one with Park. Tries to go into the side, and Park rides him out easily to the near boards. Unger killing the penalty is finally tied up by Park. We have 100 minute and 53 seconds left in the period. 1:17 on the penalty to Billy Barber. Stevenson is the 3rd All-Star goaler to surrender 4 goals in any one period. The other 2, well, he joins illustrious company in an infamous record, Jacques Plante and Terry Sawchuk. And those goals against Stevenson came in, let's see, about 7.5 minutes. McAdam, LaFleur, Dion, and Maloney. You might have thought, Marv, that the Stevenson coming in and souping up the fans, the Campbells might have started a charge, but they've really been blistered in this period. Outshot 16-6 and made, particularly on the last 3 goals, very, very bad lapses defensively, and they've allowed the Wales to go in free shooting. There's Dion maneuvering and no challenge.
And Stevenson, like Resch, received no support at all. Invisible defense in front of the goaltenders for the Campbell Conference.
Swinging around the net, the little beaver, Marcel Dion, storming at center. Got Schutt with him. Schutt over the line. Play broken up by Hotman. Schutt goes down as Lysiak tries to play up ice. Tied up by Larry Robinson of the Canadiens, playing for the Wales Conference. There's Lysiak of the Atlanta Flames to Chicago's Bill Russell. Around behind the net for Islander Dennis Potvin. Back the other way with 25 seconds left on the Campbell Conference penalty. And Bill Russell drives it down the ice. The signal for the last minute of play in the period. Again, the rise of cheers stolen away by Lysiak. Can't get anything going. Off to Jimmy Watson. Watson is ridden to the boards by Larry Robinson, and the puck is free to Jean Pronovost of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's out there with Dion and Schutt. Once again, Lysiak, a good job before checking to break up the rush. Hooks it on the near side, and Jimmy Watson trails in after it. Barber out. Teams at full strength with a half minute left in the period. 7-1 for the Wales. They drive it back to the Campbell line, where Phil Russell has it for the team in white. Back and forth to Barber. Play overshot by Pronovost. Back to Russell. Into the Wales zone, and it's played out by Robinson to Ramsey. Up ice to Shepard. Over the line. Shot. Stevenson, the kick save off the glass. That's Shepard. He's got a man here. Can't hit Clement. In comes Bennett to try to snake it out the center. Too far for Barber. That'll pretty much do it for the period. 2 seconds, 1 second, and the buzzer sounds to end the second period with the score, the Prince of Wales Conference 7, the Clarence Campbell Conference 1. We'll be back after this pause for the summary and station identification.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Craig, camera will get off me as I go to the quiz, right? Okay. Vancouver finished first last year. Smythe. I'll give a quicker rundown. I'll lead into talking about Mahavlich if you want it.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Quiz. Okay. Yeah. Well, the Prince of Wales Conference now leading the Campbell Conference by the score of 7-1 in this 29th Annual National Hockey League All-Star Game here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. I'm Marv Albert along with Gene Hart. Look at the scoring in the first period. It was Martin from Mahavlich and LaFleur, Bennett from DuPont to tie it at 1, and then the people from the Wales Conference took over. Mahavlich, who has had a sensational game from LaPointe and LaFleur, and then Brad Park from Martin and Mahavlich. So after 1, it was 3-1, the Wales on top. Wayne Stevenson of the Flyers came on for Chico Resch midway through the second period. McAdam, the former Flyer, scored, assisted by Maloney at 9:34. At that point, Wayne Thomas came on, replacing Ken Dryden in the nets for the Wales Conference. Guy LaFleur with a blast from Mahavlich and Martin at 11:54. Dion unassisted, 13:51. Maloney from LaRouche and McAdam at 16:59. Shots on goal, the Wales 17 and the Campbell Conference 6 for an overall 30-15 Wales edge. One penalty, Barber for a hook at 17:24. But Gene, the story has been the play of Peter Mahavlich.
Yes,
he is on his way to that new automobile, I think.
Well, I would think so. The only one perhaps challenging him with LaFleur, who also has had a good evening on that line of Martin, LaFleur, and Mahavlich. But it was 3-1, and the Campbells not playing that well. But when Stevenson came in and they got those 2 quickies, they really seemed to get rattled. They made a lot of mistakes in their own end, and that set up Dion and Maloney's goal and broke this one open at 7-1.
7-1 it is right here with the Wales Conference leading the Campbell Conference after 2 periods of play. And now, as promised, we have a hockey quiz for you, our most wanted man hockey quiz. This a good test of your hockey knowledge. So take a look right here, and let's see how many that you can hit on.
In the last draft, there were over 40 players going from the college ranks to the NHL. When did the explosion, where was the explosion in college hockey?
Well, you've got a couple of factors in there. One, of course, is the expansion of professional and major league hockey. 1967, you had 6 teams. What is it this year? I think we've got 32, and it's going to be another one next year, and then there's going to be 2 more in the NHL expansion. So you have an increase 400% or 500%. Many, many more jobs available, so therefore more chances for people in college hockey. Secondly, the college hockey programs have really improved. You had games played in rinks that held 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. In the 60s, they're now played in rinks that hold 8, 9, 10,000, and they're filled. So that there's a lot more emphasis on the game. A lot more recruiting is being done, a lot more inducements both for Americans and Canadian kids to come to college, get their education and play the sport, and still play it at a level where they can go on and play pro hockey. I would say the 2 things came together, probably in the late 60s, and then with the WHA, of course, coming in and the NHL expansions, the 2 factors came together, so you came into 1970, 71, 72, and the pros really started paying attention to college hockey, which, of course, was just after Kenny Dryden had graduated from college.
Well, in New York, the college hockey picture is booming somewhat, and over this weekend, 4 clubs came in from out of town and experiencing the Garden Tournament.
Yeah, there's an annual ECAC College Hockey Festival, which the Garden puts on, started in 1961, and they had a real fine tournament this year. One night, first night attendance, Friday night, was 10,500, which for college hockey is quite good, considering there is no real big-time college hockey in New York. Cornell won the tournament, defeating St. Lawrence in the final, and BC, Boston College, and Brown were also in it. And I think it was a very good demonstration of what's attractive about college hockey and what's different about it. It's a game that's played without a red line. Therefore, you're able to fling long passes up from deep in your own end all the way to the opposing team's blue line. You see a lot more breakaways, a lot more open skating. People have always said if Yvan Cournoyer played under college rules, he'd score 80 or 90 goals a year. It's exactly the kind of game for that type of skater. And because there are severe restrictions on fighting, you don't see quite as much emphasis on well, the kind of tactics we saw here in the second period, where Philadelphia could simply put out Kelly and Schultz with the avowed intention of getting in a fight with the Islanders' best line. You don't see much of that in college hockey. It was a good tournament. I think fans enjoyed it, wide open hockey, and some good talent. I know there were a lot of scouts there, too.
Seem to be a college hockey fan.
I think so. Since I've been in college, and even when I was in law school at Yale, I used to spend perhaps more time going to college hockey games than in the library. I enjoy it. I think it's an interesting sport. It has its unique sort of atmosphere, and I suppose the thing I really like about it is that it's still played the way they used to play hockey. There's, as I said, less fighting, less emphasis on the physical, more emphasis on the skating, the passing, the wide open nature. It's a fun game to watch.
How many of these most wanted men can you pick out? Most wanted man B, 5 feet 10, 180 pounds. Acknowledged gang leader, extremely fast on the draw. Mr. B works mainly as an accessory before the fact of a goal. Most wanted man C, 5 feet 9, 165 pounds. Very quick and moves like a cat burglar. Goes by a Marx Brothers alias. Last year, Mr. C did his best to steal the Stanley Cup away from the Philadelphia Flyers. Most wanted man D, 6 feet 1, 185 pounds. On the most wanted man list of 2 continents. Reckless, daring, unpredictable. In the goaltender protection racket. Easily identified by his Northern European accent. Most wanted man E, 6 feet, 199 pounds. Notorious and highly feared. Owns a complete arsenal of weapons. Wanted for burning up the league every year. Mr. E's most recent crime is failing to remain at the scene of the action. Most wanted man F, 6 feet, 205 pounds. A rather artistic hitman. Dangerous when he knows he has the advantage. Could be making a move to crack number 4's monopoly. He and his gang are taking over in the Big Apple. Most wanted man G, 6 feet 4, 210 pounds. Specializes in grand larceny. Wears a mask. Went underground for a year a while ago. Mr. G knows all the legal loopholes and is his own mouthpiece. Most wanted man H, 5 feet 11, 170 pounds. A deadly shot. Previously a terrorist with the French connection. Even constant surveillance cannot deter Mr. H. Most wanted man I, 6 feet 1, 221 pounds. A superior marksman who will shoot from point-blank range. Always a leading operator in the numbers game. Mr. I has recently relocated his hideout. There you have the NHL's most wanted men. We'll be back to remove their disguises in just a moment. Okay, you've had your clues and some time to do your detective work. Let's reveal these most wanted men. We said most wanted man B was quick on the draw, and in fact, he's considered the finest face-off man in the NHL. As an accessory before the fact of a goal, he is presently leading the league in assists. Mr. B is, of course, Bobby Clarke. Most wanted man C almost stole the Stanley Cup away from Philadelphia with his acrobatic goaltending last season. Nicknamed Chico, we are of course referring to Glenn Chico Resch. Most wanted man D has been an all-star in both Europe and North America. Proving that a Swedish accent is not a problem when it comes to playing hockey is Mr. D, Borje Salming. Often called the complete hockey player, most wanted man E has been away from the action most of the season through no fault of his own. Mr. E is obviously Bobby Orr. Most wanted man F excels both defensively and offensively and is considered the most logical candidate to end Bobby Orr's 8-year monopoly on the Norris Trophy. Spearheading the high-flying Islanders, who are fast becoming New York's premier club, is Mr. F, Denny Potvin. We said most wanted man G specialized in grand larceny, and his 1.73 goals against average for the first half points to this. Practicing law in the off-season and thus his own mouthpiece is Mr. G, Ken Dryden. Most wanted man H's deadly shot was featured for 3 seasons on the Buffalo Sabres French Connection line. Now on a new line, but just as productive with 25 goals by the midpoint, is Mr. H, Richard Martin. Most wanted man I, a superior marksman, has led the league in goals scored for the last 6 seasons. Traded earlier this season to the New York Rangers, Mr. I is, of course, Phil Esposito. There you have some of hockey's most wanted men. How was your detective work? Were you baffled by the disguises, or was it, to steal a term, elementary, my dear Watson?
I don't know how elementary that was, but it's a special souvenir commemorative program that should be #1 on your list. The much-publicized NHL Soviet Team Series remains available in limited quantities. $2.50, which includes postage and handling, can bring one to you. Just address your money to NHL, Post Office Box 12758, Philadelphia, the zip code 19134. You'll enjoy this super magazine, a truly memorable account of this historic NHL team Soviet hockey series. Send $2.50, check or money order to NHL, Post Office Box 12758, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the zip code 19134.
Marv Albert back here at the Spectrum in Philly. Gene, don't be so upset. You missed a couple of the quiz. You get them next time. The man to my right is Bill Hughes, the president and governor of the Vancouver Canucks. And the city of Vancouver and the Canucks will be hosting the 1977 National Hockey League All-Star Game.
Rick, Tuesday, January 25th, 77 will be the night when we have the All-Star Game, and the 24th when we have the big All-Star dinner like we had here in Philadelphia last night. And of course, our big job is going to, well, compete with the tremendous bicentennial celebration of the All-Star Game that we've had here in Philadelphia for the last 3 days. It's just been a great outpouring of brotherly love from Philadelphia. We've had a great time.
And I might say this about the Vancouver Canucks, and I guess we have about 30 seconds to say it because the teams are about set to return to the ice. What a job done in Vancouver. A club that, of course, is in still its embryonic stages. You won the Smythe Division last year. Right now you're in second place. A host of good young players. The Dennis Ververgaards represented here in All-Star play. The Rick Blights, the Chris Odlefsons. Tremendous job done by Phil Maloney.
He certainly has, and we have the basis of a great hockey team, and of course we have a great hockey town, and we're inviting all the people who can possibly come to Vancouver to help us celebrate our first All-Star Game next January. And it's not igloo country, Rick. It's beautiful. We're playing golf there on Saturday. So we invite all the people who are interested in seeing Canada's very best. Try the West, try Vancouver.
Bill Hughes, the president and governor of the Vancouver Canucks. And we'll be set for the start of play in the third period in just a moment. Each player and coach in tonight's All-Star Game will receive, right here, an electric watch, especially designed by the Zenith Movado Time Corporation for the National Hockey League. It is a beautiful watch, one that all of the players and coaches participating in the 29th annual NHL All-Star Game will be proud to wear. We'll be back after these words from your local station.
Back here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, this is Marv Hart along with Rick Albert. I told you there were names there.
I'm very thinking Vancouver, Gene.
7-1, the Whales lead the Capitals. We're set for the third period. Stevenson right, Wayne Thomas left, and again the voice of the Rangers, Marv Albert.
Thank you, Bob. Gene. I thought he called me Rick. I wasn't sure. I guess he did. 7-1, Wales conference on top. Wayne Thomas, the goaltender for the Whales, stops it for Dave Burrows of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Checked behind the goal by Bobber, and Thomas clears it off the boards. Potvin keeps it in, and now the Wales conference starts up. Clement with the drop pass. Ramsey feeds ahead. Watson carves it off the boards. Clement, former Philadelphia Flyer, able to keep it in, but it's knocked out of the zone. And then Korab of Buffalo dumps it back behind the Campbell Conference net. Again, the Wales Conference able to maintain possession. That's Clement Willing. Beautiful setup. Shepard's drive is wide. Reg Leach of the Flyers, checked by Shepard, rolls it ahead. Here is Rick McLeish of the Flyers. On the crisscross with Bobber, Potvin tried to hold up but could not. He's ahead of the play at offside.
See, that's the difference. Barber and Leach, particularly Leach, is a trigger man, and he's been waiting all night. McLeish, who's a freewheeler, likes to carry in himself. Normally works, Marv, with two guys like Gary Dornhofer and Ross Lonsbury, who are diggers and sit in front of the net and wait for McLeish to maneuver. It is Clark normally who does the maneuvering for Barber and Clark, and thus it really throws those two off.
Now the Campbell Conference with Dennis Potvin and Jimmy Watson on the back line. Rick McLeish the center for Bill Bobber and Reg Leach. Goaltender Thomas whips it around the boards. Shepard wrestles it free for the Wales Conference. Ramsey ahead on the right wing for Clement. Moving on Watson. Tries the back pass, but it's off the mark. This is Leach, bumped off the play by Park. Lapointe of Montreal spins back to his line. Throws it ahead. The intercept by Bobber. Bobber waits for McLeish to move onside, then moves it across, but it's stolen by Shepard. Here's Ramsey of Buffalo for Clement of Washington. Shot is flagged down by DuPont. Now McLeish with it. Early moments of play, third period, 7-1. The Wales Conference on top. Campbell Conference in possession. That's Leach. Pass play broken up by LaPointe. Pinned by Vickers. Unger tries to work it free. Now LaPointe and Vickers scrap for it. LaPointe comes away with it and rolls it around. Unger keeps in. That's Goldsworthy. Now Unger, Vickers fans on the shot. Vickers looks to center, cannot, bothered by LaPointe. Now Vadnais of the Rangers saved Thomas, and he holds on.
Didn't see it as Vadnais got a screen, but Vickers is usually marvelous around the net. That time let the puck roll off his stick. I'd also like to point out that Marv Albert, who does radio in New York, is joined by former colleague Jim Gordon, who does the picture view. He's much older than you, though.
I think you'll be hearing from Jim.
Well, I'm heavier than he is. That evens it up.
All right, here's a 2-on-1 developing. This is LaRouche with McAdam. The feed just behind McAdam, who has dunked on the play. Jim Gordon's teammate on the television side, the big whistle, Bill Chadwick. My broadcast partner, Sal Messina, on the radio side. And, of course, Gene teams up here in Philadelphia with Don Earl. Unger and Vickers combined for that offside infraction. A break in the action right here. The Wales Conference 7, the Campbell Conference 1.
We've got 17:15 left in the game, where maybe the numbers are not important anymore. The Wales up by a big 6-7-1.
Now Vadnais slaps in. Brad Parker, the Bruins, for LaPointe of Montreal. The steal causing the offside. Goldsworthy with the intercept, but a whistle for the offside. Vickers beat it in on the left wing. There's Bill Goldsworthy, known in the Midwest for the Goldie Shuffle. We have not seen it yet tonight. There has been very little cause to shuffle from the point of view of the Campbell Conference. Park ripped by DuPont. LaPointe comes over to recapture. And this is Maloney of Detroit clearing it out. Vickers stops for teammate Vadnais. Back off the boards for Vickers. He is checked by McAdam, who slaps it in. Vadnais and McAdam come together, and McAdam rolls it around. Now Vickers works it free. And the Campbell Conference tries to start up. Park breaks it up. Try to hit LaRouche, but it's knocked away. Unger pushes it ahead for Vickers on the off wing, broken up by LaPointe, and Vadnais takes it back. This is Carol Vadnais to the Wales blue line. The setup for Vickers. He could not handle the pass off his stick. Marks keeps it in at the point. Now this is LaPointe, checked by Unger. A 2-on-1 developing right here, led by LaFleur. The Campbell Conference gets back. The shot deflects to the crowd. Maloney's shot ends up back behind the goaltender Stevenson, and that allows a line change by both squads.
Again, Steve Vickers, number 8 for the Campbell Conference. Had 2 opportunities there. As you look on, Neil Armstrong refereed more playoff or lined more playoff games than anyone in the National Hockey League, and is in his 10th All-Star game tonight. As the numbers on the board: 7-1 the Wales Conference, 16:01 left in our 29th annual All-Star game.
The Peter Mahovlich line on now, and they have been magnificent. LaFleur on the right, Martin on the left side. Marks of Chicago up to center. Now Marks up to the Wales blue line from the slot. The floater is slapped down by Thomas. And LaFleur dumps it all the way down. Russell chasing. And the linesmen, D'Amico and Armstrong, blow the whistle. Icing is called, so they move it back for a face-off. The goal scoring: Martin, Mahovlich, Park, McAdam, LaFleur, Dion, and Maloney for the Wales, and Bennett for the Campbell Conference.
Looking at Phil Russell, fine Chicago hockey players we mentioned earlier from Edmonton. Played with the Oil Kings in that league. A lot of good hockey players that come out of that particular team.
Beauregard score! Off the face-off, Vancouver's Dennis Ververgaert with the second goal of the night for the Campbell Conference. It is now 7-2, the Whales on top.
Well, maybe apropos, Marv, with the next All-Star game coming up in Vancouver next year, Ververgaert gets the second goal. There he is, Big Dennis, drafted from the Ontario Juniors.
And off the face-off at center, Trottier shoots in, back behind the net. Score! Ververgaert with the steal! That time they caught the Wales Conference napping, and Trottier and Ververgaert able to combine. So Dennis Ververgaert with two in quick order.
Do not touch the dial. Could it be, Marv? 7-3. Don't go away. It's happened before.
Yeah.
And now there's competition for that automobile.
Marks the lead pass. This is Trottier for Harris, but broken up by Korat. Now Dion back behind the Wales goal line. He's checked by Harris, and suddenly the Campbell Conference coming alive. Trottier for Harris. Harris off the block, feeds out to Marks. His slap, blocked by Korat. Trottier can't play the bouncing puck. This is Pronovo. Stick save made by Stevenson. Now Marks, checked by Schutt, winds it around. Russell and Pronovo come together. Ververgaert can't control. Now Trottier steals from Korat. Moving on Burrows, the angle drive, wide. Schutt takes at the far side. Korat to center ice. The slap by Korat, stick save Stevenson. Kept in by Dion. Pronovo back behind the goal line. And the steal made by Harris of the Islanders. Now Korat cuts it off at center. The stick checked by Bennett, but Burrows rescues it. This is Schutt. Back pass Dion has the good shot. Stick save Stevenson and cleared aside. Watson after it in the corner. Kept alive though by Dion. Dion of the Los Angeles Kings sets up in the slot. Clement able to keep it alive. This is Burrows. It is blocked. And we'll get a face-off. Russell blocking it, a break in the action. The score now, Prince of Wales Conference 7, Campbell's 3.
That's on the second Campbell Conference goal. Ververgaert scoring the assist to Trottier. On the third goal, Ververgaert again scoring the assist to number 15, Billy Harrison, and Brian Trottier, number 19.
Two goals by Dennis Ververgaert within 10 seconds, a record for 2 goals by one player and 2 goals by one team. As we had the puck stolen away along the near side. Out front there was Ververgaert, and he banged it home past Wayne Thomas. 4:33 from Trottier and 4:43 from Billy Harris and Trottier. 7-3 the score with 13:52 remaining in the game. And Marv Albert along with Gene Hart.
And a host of offensive records being set here tonight at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. Watson of the Flyers, fans on the pass. Clement able to get it off to Shepard. This is Park on the rush. Clement to the left. Park moving wide, eludes the check of Laziak. His shot is blocked by Watson. Shepard keeps it in. This is Lapointe teeing it up. It is blocked by Potvin. Ramsey and Potvin battle for it now. Then it's worked free. Laziak of Atlanta back behind the Campbell net. And Potvin rolls it out of the zone. Park now. Potvin chases it down. 13 minutes remaining in this third period. The Wales Conference leading 7-3, and this capacity crowd at the Spectrum beginning the rhythmic hand clapping. Apparently they don't feel it's over. They like to see some more action. Moose DuPont hearing the chant of Moose from the crowd. Being watched by Shepard, rolls it around. The drive deflects, gloved by Thomas, cannot hold on, and now does. The shot by Pema, and he tried to go for the rebound. We're going to face off now. Deep in Wales Conference territory, the hand for the Philadelphia Flyer unit as they step on.
Well, he's got them all out there, with the exception of Jimmy Watson on the right side, bad name, but he's got DuPont left, and Leach, Barber, and McLeish against LaRouche along with McAdam and Maloney. There's John D'Amico. Unusual. A linesman, then became a referee and said, I had enough of this, and went back and were happily content over the last decade to be a linesman. John D'Amico.
Floyd Smith continues to make changes. Now sends Larry Robinson on to combine with Boria Salming. Gets by Vadnais. Maloney and Vadnais chase. Now DuPont comes over. Maloney keeps it in. That's McAdam with the behind-the-back maneuver. The angle drive by LaRouche goes wide. Maloney with it. Has McAdam in the slot. Batted down by LaRouche. Takes a good shove from Barber. And Vadnais starts up. DuPont. Maloney after it. DuPont in deep. Maloney sweeps right by. Hit from behind by McLeish. And Barber takes it back. Vadnais with the bad pass. But it is recaptured. Another bad pass. Robinson shot off the mark. McAdam centers. Now Vadnais with the pinning move back behind the net. The Campbell Conference having trouble getting out. Leach along the board, then clears for Barber, but it skips away. And McAdam shovels it right back in. DuPont and McAdam come together. Now LaRouche pokes it ahead. It is cut off by Vadnais. Barber back behind his net. 11 and a half remaining, third period. Barber bothered by behind by Maloney, nevertheless moves to center and across the Wells line, then loses to McAdam. A giveaway, but the Campbell Conference not able to take advantage as Salming is sent reeling to the ice. This is McAdam of the California Seals. Vadnais and McAdam slap at it, kept in by Robinson, doubled up by Stevenson, and looking for a whistle, no whistle. He held it for a long time, but play continues. Now LaFleur, back pass for Korab. Robinson of the Canadians replacing the injured Serge Savard. Drive by Martin is wide. Now Unger of the Campbell Conference tied up in the corner by Mahovlich. He takes a stiff check from behind by Russell. Dug loose by LaFleur. Out it goes to Burroughs of Pittsburgh. A shot is deflected wide by Stevenson. Laid around the boards by Marks, but Korab recaptures. This is Goldsworthy with a drop for Unger. Try to return it, could not. LaFleur and Marks converge, and LaFleur wins the battle. Then it's slapped back the other way by Unger. This is Korab at center. Korab of the Buffalo Sabres. Try to give it off to Martin. Now Martin in front. Goldsworthy slips it around the boards. Unger back for it, now checked by Mahovlich. Dumps it behind the goal for Russell, watched by LaFleur. Vickers could not handle it. Dion does. Martin with a lead, but LaFleur ahead of the play. A break in the action. The score, the Wells Conference 7, Campbell Conference 3.
Back here at the Spectrum, we'd like to remind you that the MVP of this game for the fourth consecutive year is going to receive a spanking brand new shiny 1976 automobile.
(7-3) the score. Wells Conference on top. Wells Conference in the orange, the Campbell Conference in the white. That's Brad Park, number 22. Hounded by Billy Harris, off to his defense partner, Guy Lapointe. Lapointe of the Montreal Canadiens on the surge. Stolen by Watson. Now Ververgard up ahead. Trottier checked by Park. Pronovo takes it back. Jean Pronovo, the Pittsburgh Penguins, 29-goal scorer thus far. The angle drive is just off. Kept in by Lapointe at the point. His shot deflects wide. Ververgard of Vancouver, who has scored 2 goals in this period, cannot get it out. Park's drive, stick save made by Stevenson. Hoffman rolls it cross ice, sleepy pass. And it's kept in by Dion. The angle shot knocked aside. Dion still with it, bumped off the play. Now Schutt of Montreal has his stick raised, and Bachman takes it away. 8:40 remaining third period. Bachman of the Islanders. And a whistle for an offside.
Well, you have reached a point where valor is the better part of discretion, and you're going to see a lot of individual sorties up the ice. Players figuring, well, this one is in hand one way or another, and I'd like to get me one on the board. I may never get in the game again. As that time, they tried to make the play along the near side, but bumped into the zone. Out of your picture was Verbegaard. 8:37 left in the game, 7-3. The Whales leading the Campbells.
This is Brad Park, watched by Bennett off to LaPointe. A lead for Pronovo. Hit to the boards by DuPont. And DuPont and Pronovo tie it up.
Pronovo's a 30-year-older from Shawinigan Falls.
Break of the action now, the score. Wales Conference 7, Campbell Conference 3.
Hi there, Gene Hardalong with Marv Albert for you sitting in the stands with your set.
That was the right channel, wasn't it? Shot by Ramsey. Gobbled up by Philadelphia Flyers goalie Wayne Stevenson. 8 minutes and 15 seconds remaining in this third period. The Wales Conference leading it by the score of 7-3.
Well, after those two goals by Verbegaard, the Campbells have yet to get a shot again on Wayne Thomas.
Robinson's shot is blocked. Robinson retreats off to Sobbing of Toronto. This is Clement for Shepard of Boston. Shepard across the Campbell line. The steal by Laziak. Moving on Sobbing. Wales Conference getting back quickly. Bennett along the boards. Checked on the play. Bennett continues to scrap along with Clement. Clement comes up with the puck. This is Bill Clement of the Washington Capitals. The drop for Shepard. Back for Clement in the slot. He could not get to it. Stevenson clears. Robinson keeps in. His drive is a save on the rebound. Shepard had a good shot from in close, but it deflects back behind the net. And play is stopped.
Looked like Shepard really had Wayne Stevenson hung up to dry as he was in the slot. Stevenson, a low off balance, recovering from the prior shot, but caught a piece of someone in front and deflected over the net. Wayne Stevenson, the Canadian national team, set out a year of hockey. Played with the St. Louis Blues, was traded to Philadelphia. Again, as Marv said, only 12 games last year, but has been a remarkable replacement for Bernie Ferrand.
Wayne Stevenson from Fort William, Ontario. There is McLeish to center. Shepard all over him. Good checking all night long by the Wales Conference. And as a result, they lead it by the score of 7-3. This is Ramsey, one of the best checkers in the league. Shepard's shot deflects wide. McLeish after it along with Clement. Off to Leach, and he clears it out. This is Barber, tied up by Sami. And Robinson able to dump it out at center ice. Now Marks of Chicago. He's checked by Clement. Marks once again. Leach, long drive, save made by Wayne Thomas, cleared by Sobbing, kept in though by McLeish, but it's stolen by Ramsey. Right wing feed now for McAdam. McAdam of the Seals, back pass for Ramsey. His shot is stopped from behind. Good defensive play. Kept alive though by McAdam. Played off the board by LaRouche. Centering feed broken up by Russell. Hard hit by Russell to dump Ramsey. This is Leach across the line. Try to drop for Barber, but it's broken up, and LaRouche recaptures. LaRouche of the Penguins, only 20 years old. Back pass intended for McAdam, knocked away. At center ice, Maloney of Detroit. Maloney hangs in, but it's picked off by Unger. Now Vickers on a break. No angle. He tried to pass behind him. He heard footsteps, and he tried to get it over to Goldsworthy, and it was broken up beautifully by that dive by Burroughs. A break in the action now. The score, the Whales 7, the Campbells 3. Neil Armstrong will drop it between Gary Unger of St. Louis and Pierre LaRouche of Pittsburgh. Face off to the right side of Wayne Thomas. Korab rolls it around. Potvin able to keep it in. Score! Dennis Potvin over the shoulder of Wayne Thomas. Dennis has not been able to get off his usual quota of good shots. That one of the rare ones tonight, and he was able to collect. 7-4 the score now.
That seemed to lift as Thomas went down. I don't know if it got anybody in front, but he made a nice move right there past LaRouche. Got a screen from Jerry Korab, and it did. The diving defenseman across in front got a piece of that and deflected up and over Thomas. Unassisted, Dennis Potvin, #1 in all-star play at 14-17. That breaks a record, Marv. 7-4, and that's a record for goals in an all-star game now at 11.
Maloney hit along the boards by Goldsworthy. Potvin keeps it in. The setup for Unger in the slot. Score! Vickers! And this game is suddenly turning around. As Gene said earlier, actually in jest, don't go away. But now we're serious. 5:14 remaining. And it's now a 7-5 hockey game.
There was Unger. Watch now as there's Vickers right where he belongs. And he got the second poke, I believe, off Wayne Thomas. Tonight's MVP will receive a Dodge Charger SE from the Chrysler Corporation. Bill Coley from Chrysler Corporation, their director of advertising for cars and trucks, will be making the presentation after the game.
And Dennis Potvin set it up. Dennis Potvin has now scored a goal in each of the last 3 All-Star games, including the only goal last year for the Campbell Conference. 7-5 the score, 5 minutes remaining. And suddenly the Campbell Conference has come alive. Martin takes it away from Harris. Martin goes in with LaFleur, broken up by the skate of Marks. And here come the Campbell Conference, led by the rookie Poitier, off to Ververgart. Back behind the Wales net. Now Martin rolls it around. Harris looks to keep it in. Cannot. Ridden out of the zone by Mahovlich. And here comes Martin once again. Martin around Mark's dump and a penalty. Penalty upcoming. It is a trip.
Looks like John Marks of the Chicago Blackhawks gets it. It's only the second of the game. And we'll have power play coming up. With this break in the action, the score, Wales Conference 7 and the Campbell Conference 5.
14, John Marks. 2 minutes for tripping. Continental lead, 15 minutes, 26 seconds. John Marks for Campbell Conference All-Stars, 2 minutes tripping.
Play is on, and there you're going to get an opportunity to see this last play on net with the score 7-5. There was the shot, and Vickers getting a piece of it to drive it past goaltender Thomas. Dennis Potvin and Unger the assist at 14, 15, 16 make that.
14-17, the time of the previous goal by Potvin, unassisted. Marks sitting it out for tripping at 15-26. So the Wales Conference with the man advantage. McLeish gets it out to center. Now LaFleur works it free. This is Park. 1:35 remaining on the John Marks penalty. The Wales Conference, the team with the puck right here, with the man advantage. That's Mahovlich. With Martin left, LaFleur right. The drop for Martin is bothered by Lysiak. The blast by Martin. Now LaFleur sends in front. And Russell tries to sit on it, then it's worked free. Potvin bumps LaFleur off the puck. Potvin with it now in front of his own net, able to get away with it and clear all the way down. So we have a minute remaining now on the penalty assessed to John Marks. 3.5 remaining, third period. Wales lead it 7-5. Should the Campbell Conference tie it up, we would go to sudden death overtime. Now Potvin out of the zone. The lead for Laziak, played by Park. Martin works it free, and this is LaFleur with 35 seconds remaining on the penalty. Now Robinson. Robinson to center. And Martin rolls it back behind Wayne Stevenson. 20 seconds remaining on the penalty. Vadnais working with McLeish. Pronovo steals, shot wide. Vadnais tries the pinning move. Can't clear it out. Somming keeps in. Dion the angle shot. And it's cleared out by Bobber. That does it for the penalty. Marks returns. 2.5 remaining, third period. Dion across the line, met by Russell. And then it's sent back behind the goal. Schutt and Vadnais put on the brakes. Worked free now by Bobber. 7-5 the score. Campbell Conference trailing as they break out of their zone. Led by Marks. He has Bennett to his right. This is Bennett. Could not make the turn, and Dion is able to clear it out. Schutt. Stopped by Vadnais. Schutt sends it in. Schutt with the puck once again for Dion. Dion still has it. The shot is a glove save. Stevenson clamping the glove down. So the face-off coming up now. Deep in Campbell Conference territory. There you see it. 2 minutes left, third period. Wales leading the Campbell Conference 7-5. We'd like to thank Ed Snyder, the governor of the Philadelphia Flyers, and their wonderful organization for all the hospitality during this 29th annual All-Star Game. They really did a job here in Philadelphia. Our thanks to the Flyers. John D'Amico drops it, and it's controlled by the Campbell Conference. However, DuPont loses his stick. Leach rolls it around. This is Potvin now. Time running down on the Campbell Conference. Somming up Toronto. Shoots it back in. Now Potvin ahead. Ververgaert couldn't handle it. Shepard does. Love save made by Stevenson. DuPont ahead for Ververgaert. For McLeish at center. Wayne Thomas rolls it around. Ramsey looks to clear it out. Cannot. Kept in by Potvin. Now Robinson taps it ahead. Shepard on the right for Clement. Moving on DuPont. The lead for Shepard. Batted down by DuPont. A minute 15 remaining now. Ververgaert with a thread-the-needle attempt for McLeish. This is McLeish moving on Somming. The lead for Goldsworthy. Could not get the good shot off. However, it almost fooled Thomas. They bang each other and pin it in back behind the net. Keep in mind that tonight's most valuable player will receive a Dodge Charger from Chrysler Corporation. And Bill Cawley from Chrysler Corporation will be making the presentation after the game. In fact, Gene Hart is headed down for the presentation ceremonies on the ice. Wayne Thomas of the Toronto Maple Leafs came on for Ken Dryden midway through period number 2. And now Wayne Stevenson is headed toward the Campbell Conference bench, so Fred Shiro has pulled his goaltender. And with 1 minute remaining in this third period of the Campbell Conference trailing by 2 goals, the extra forward is inserted. Laziak steps on. That's Fred Russell of the Chicago Blackhawks. Should say Phil Russell of the Chicago Blackhawks. 18 is Tom Laziak. Number 9 is LaRouche. They go on the face. Just a minute remaining. Now Trottier will step in instead. Vadnais keeps it in. Harris pinned by Burrows. Laziak works it free. Trottier stopped by Thomas. Vadnais shot blocked. And Russell takes it at center ice. 45 seconds remaining. Maloney able to keep it away. LaRouche is stopped. Empty net for the Campbell Conference. Park whips it around the boards. Maloney pinned by Vadnais. This is Trottier looking to set up, stopped by Park. We have 25 seconds remaining now. LaRouche at center. Haymont takes it away for the Campbell Conference with 20 seconds remaining. Burroughs can't clear. Laziak's drive, stick save Thomas. Harris keeps it alive with 13 seconds remaining. That puck very, very elusive. Trottier keeps in. 7 seconds left. Thomas tries to wind it around. Burroughs does. Maloney takes. Now LaRouche from center. It is blocked by Russell, and that is it. The Prince of Wales Conference has made it 2 straight. Both 7-goal binges. Last year, they beat the Campbell Conference 7-1. And tonight, here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, as we look at the victorious Wales Conference All-Star squad leave the ice, they have defeated the Campbell Conference by the score of 7-5. And in just a few minutes, we'll have the announcement and the presentation of the Most Valuable Player Award with the MVP to receive that spanking new Dodge. We'll be back after these messages from your local stations.
Conference 12, a game total of 42. For the Campbell Conference 9, a game total of 24.
Figure up the big scorers like Mahavlich and okay. I mentioned this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 stars of tonight's 29th annual All-Star Game are selected by the Professional Hockey Writers Association. First star, most valuable player, Pete Mahavlich. Our second star, number 2, Eva Fleur. And our third star tonight, Dennis Verbergart.
Shots on goal in the third and final period. The Prince of Wales Conference had 12. The Clarence Campbell Conference had 9 overall. A lot of activity on the part of the Campbell Conference goaltenders. Prince of Wales 42 shots on goal. The Campbell Conference 24 shots on goal. The 3 stars as selected in tonight's game. Number 1, Peter Mahavlich. So he will win the automobile. The Dodge goes to Peter. A goal and 3 assists for number 20 of the Montreal Canadiens. Second star, Guy Lafleur. Well, 6 Canadians made this all-star team, and the game always dominated by the Canadiens. A goal and 2 assists for Lafleur. And the third star by way of the Vancouver Canucks and the Campbell Conference All-Stars, Dennis Verbergart, who scored 2 goals. Now let's go down to the ice for my colleague Gene Hart.
Back here at the Spectrum, I'm Gene Hart along with Marv Albert, and for the fourth time, the Chrysler Corporation is presenting an automobile to the MVP of this, the 29th National Hockey League All-Star Game. To my left is Bill Coley, the Director of Advertising for Dodge Cars and Trucks, and to my right, the winner of this magnificent Dodge Charger SE, Pete Mahavlich. So, Bill, if you'll do the honors.
Certainly will.
Pete, on behalf of the Dodge Division of Chrysler Corporation, it's my pleasure to present you to the keys to the 1976 Dodge Charger SE for being selected the most valuable player. Congratulations.
Steve, you've got to say a few words about that. Your line came out flying.
Yes, both Guy Lafleur and Rick Martin deserve it as much as I do. We just played well together, and everything just went along very well for us. And we were on for a couple of goals against, but that's the way it goes at times when you're leading 7-1. But we were very happy. We wanted to win the game because, you know, I guess, you know, you have to play it, and you might as well, you know, try to win the game if you're going to play it.
Hey, I remember 2 weeks ago when you were introduced on the ice before the Canadian Army game, you came out and did a leg kick, and that was a wild bit of emotion for you, and you met with great favor with your Canadian fans.
Yes, it was a big evening for us, and we played extremely well, and if it wasn't for Mr. Tretiak, I'm quite sure we would have won quite handily, but Mr. Tretiak played an extremely good game and got them a tie.
Well, the Cup has been away from Montreal for 2 years and then lives in this building. How about this season?
Well, I think we're contenders again this year, and the same with Buffalo, you know, and Boston this year have been playing extremely well, and I think Philadelphia is going to have a tough time getting it, you know, and keeping it here again this following season, and I like our chances as well as anybody else's in the league.
Pete, was there such a thing as living in your brother's shadow, and after he left, you were able to blossom?
Well, no, there was no such thing because we didn't let it affect ourselves between he and I, and that's where it counts.
You know, your line was operating with Steve Shutt through the regular season, and yet Floyd Smith chose to team you with Rick Martin. Did he explain why?
Well, I think it was because we started out as the first All-Stars that were picked, and so he just went with that combination, and it worked out very well for us.
Are you sorry Bobby Clark didn't play?
Yes, it's too bad because, you know, he certainly adds a lot to the game, especially in this building.
Pete, when we talked to you last time, you said that in the true sense of the word fun, if there was a fun game, it's when Philadelphia plays Montreal.
It certainly is because now they're the champs, and you know, after 2 years, everybody thought it was a fluke the first year. We knew better because they worked hard and they deserved to win the first year, just like they did last year. And you know, we hope to meet them in the finals if we can get there.
Pete Mahovlich, congratulations for your selection MVP, and Bill Cawley, thanks for being with us. Pete, I don't know if you're going to drive it home, but you know it's yours. Thank you very much. Bill Cawley, come on in, Marv Albert, if you will. Bill Cawley, Marv Albert, or as his friends call him, Rick.
Rick. Well, to look at the wrap-up to do the final arithmetic, Rick Martin from Mahovlich and Lafleur at 6:01. That put the Wales Conference on top by the count of 1-0. It was Bennett from DuPont at 16:59. That tied it at 1-1, and then the Prince of Wales Conference took over. Mahovlich from LaPointe and Lafleur at 18:31. Brad Park of the Bruins from Martin and Mahovlich at the 19-minute mark, and it was a 3-1 hockey game. At the point, Gene, it still seemed to be a game going to the second period, and then things were broken open by the Montreal Canadian influence.
I think, again, it was the big key line. As Pete said, they were flying. The Campbell kids got rattled in the second period, but they showed a little moxie by coming back with those 4 late in the game, and we're testing Mr. Thomas even through the last minute, and I think that's professional.
In the second period, it was McAdam, former Flyer from Maloney, at 9:34. The 2 goaltenders were replaced. Stevenson came on for Resch, and it was Thomas coming on for Dryden. Lafleur from Mahovlich and Martin at 11:54. Dion unassisted at 13:51. Maloney from LaRouche and McAdam at 16:59. And to close it out in the third period, Dennis Ververgaard of the Vancouver Canucks with 2 goals, one from Trottier and Harris at 4:33. And then at 4:43, just 10 seconds later, Ververgaard from Harris and Trottier. Dennis Potvin made it a 7-4 game unassisted at 14:17. And Vickers of the Rangers from Unger and Potvin at 14:46. The 1 penalty in the third marks for a trip at 15:26. Once again, the shots on goal. Prince of Wales 42, Clarence Campbell 24. So that final score, the Prince of Wales Conference defeating the Clarence Campbell Conference by the count of 7-5.
Marv, I'm just going to ask you a question. Do you find that perhaps the 2 lopsided scores of the past 2 years, for the first time we've had Campbell and Wales, maybe an indication of the strength of the 2 divisions, or just one of those things, or 2 of those things?
I think, Gene, it's really one of those things. I always look at an all-star game, as I mentioned earlier, be it hockey or basketball or football or baseball is it depends who wants to play the game, because particularly in a sport like hockey where you're not going to see that much contact in an all-star game as opposed to regular season play, and it's understandable the guys don't want to get hurt in what is an exhibition game. Still, it's a great game because you're seeing all the stars of the league. So apparently tonight the Prince of Wales people wanted to play till the third period when there was some spark that was shown.
But I'll tell you one thing, I don't know about next year's game, good or bad, but it's going to be in one of the most beautiful cities in the world, Vancouver in British Columbia, and I hope you and I are there.
I was out in Vancouver. From the Ranger point of view. It wasn't a particularly enjoyable trip last Wednesday. The Canucks took the Rangers by the score 5-1. But one thing about the city of Vancouver, and I hope we're not coming off like the Chamber of Commerce for Vancouver, but wherever you are in that city, you see the gorgeous mountains in the background. It is really a magnificent city, a great view from wherever you are, and hope we're there next year for the All-Star game.
You've just joined us. This fella didn't win the car. It's Bill Coley, the advertising manager for Dodge Chrysler Corporation, who presented this Dodge Charger SE to the MVP of this, the 29th National Hockey League All-Star Game, Peter Mahovlich from Timmins, Ontario.
Peter accepted it. He said that he'd gladly take it, I think.
Very graciously, right, yeah. I told him it's too bad he's not still in Detroit.
Yeah.
That's the only problem.
Well, if he didn't want it, I would have sacrificed. Well, Marv, you might have had it. You need a car ride back to New York.
That's an interesting proposition. Actually, when you talk about Peter Mahovlich, and of course I did not hear the interview on my way down here to the ice, but here's a guy who I recall when he first came up with the Detroit Red Wings, all you heard was, hey, this is Frank's little brother. And he was an awkward skater, but a guy who has really worked, a guy who has come on the last couple of years. He is now one of the premier center men in the National Hockey League.
He's a marvelous skater. He's big and strong, and he's intelligent, and he's got desire. As he said tonight, we wanted to win the game, and that line went out. And he said he wanted Martin on that line. I don't know if you heard that, Marv, coming down the tunnel, moving Schutt off the wing and putting Martin in, because Floyd Smith said those were the three starters on the line, and that's the trio he wanted to go with tonight. So he moved Schutt back, as you remember, on the second line.
Gene, as a man who knows Coach Fred Shiro, and I see we're getting the countdown, we have just a couple of seconds left, what will his reaction be to this loss, his second consecutive loss as all-star coach?
I think he'll brood and then say we'll do it differently next year. Maybe 4 coaches behind the bench. I would think because of the Shiro system that one game is not enough to get a club together, and he may have to try something other next year.
Okay, on behalf of the National Hockey League, once again, thank you very much for tuning in. The final score, the Prince of Wales Conference 7, the Clarence Campbell Conference 5.